Atomic won't really have that cover in the air.
Jump in there, they all. Hello and welcome into this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. It is time to wrap up our Esports Tower Overwatch Week 3 Winter Rumble. This Rumble has been so fantastic. Last week we had some absolutely wild games, but at the end of the day, the Everest remained on top. And after checking the standings, the Everest have already clinched a spot in our grand finals later tonight. We're going to see who will join them. I am Michael Fisher, joined, as we said, some amazing guests. Stevens College, who had an all-girl Overwatch clinic. They've been part of this Rumble. And then, of course, the amazing Vicky Kitty has been alongside of me, calling all of the action. And I think what we learned last week, Vicky in particular, was adaptability is going to be key for these teams. A lot of times, the team that won, besides the Everest, because they just bodied everyone, the team that won wasn't the team that won the first map or won the first fight. It was the team that adapted their comp and had backups and had secondary plans. How adjustable these teams are going into our second week of this Rumble is going to be key in showing who joins the Everest in our grand finals to wrap up the night.
Absolutely. You highlighted perfectly. The adaptability that we've been seeing from a lot of these squads and the way that they roll out with some of these compositions have really allowed teams like Everest to really shine through. So are we going to get another winner here, or are Everest going to be as consistent as ever going into this week?
Again, they've already clinched a spot in our grand finals that we'll wrap up the night with. We'll see who else can join them. Will it be Meridian Tech? Will it be the Monsoons or the Fire Islands, the Esports Tower, who we have not got a chance to see? Or will it be Stevens College, our newcomer? We will find all of that out here. As we get ready to kick things off, we are going to start with our two Esports Tower teams that we have not had a chance to see. It'll be the Monsoons taking on the Fire Islands. These teams have been battling back and forth for that second, third spot. The Fire Islands made the grand finals in our first Rumble of the winter, but the Monsoons, they're a newly formed team, Vicky. This is only their third Rumble ever together. They're getting better and better week by week, as we'll see what they do here. We'll go to Nepal as we get to take a look at these teams, and a win over the Fire Islands puts the Monsoons in a great spot to potentially make our grand finals. So this will be a very high-stakes match for these two squads.
Absolutely. You know, you were highlighting Monsoons as a team, a new team to start building up their roster, to build up that synergy, and they've been doing just that amazingly. So I'm excited to see how a team like Monsoons are going to do against a team like Fire Islands, where this is a team that wants to try to claim just the way that a lot of these other teams have just been playing. They want to maintain that consistency that teams like Everest have been able to attain.
Before we hop in, let's take a look at Doc's Keys to the Game today, presented by the Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. And it's never take a fair fight, which means you got to take fights in unexpected places. When the other team is unprepared, and tempo, that has been so key for some of these teams. You have to know when you have to take a fight. When does it line up with your ults? When do they have ults or major abilities like a Mercy Revive or an Immortality Field on cooldown? You have to be tracking those at all times. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. Let's kick off our first map of the night. The Monsoons and Fire Islands going at it again. A win here puts you in a really good spot if you're either of these teams to potentially make our grand finals. We go to Nepal. Can the Monsoons knock off sort of their older brother in the Fire Islands? These two teams have shared players in the past, but they don't have enough to make a single roster. So it's the Fire Islands as the older brother, the Monsoons, the younger brother, finally got into the same sport as their older brother, and they're trying to show them up here, Vicky, and trying to prove that they deserve to play with the big boys.
Absolutely. You know, Fire Island has been currently in practice and putting a lot more emphasis on integrating their new players so that way they have more flexibility in their roster. But look at this huge immortality field helping out Fire Island control so much space. They're the ones to take out one of the members of Monsoons first, as Anarchy is the first to go down. That's going to be super crucial here, as that's going to deny the ult charge that Anarchy wants to build up for that sound barrier.
Keep your eyes on Frozen Phoenix. He is greatly improved, the coaches have told me, in his not dying potential and staying alive as he lands the big shatter.
Jeez, the fact that he was able to get shattered so quick here really highlights the type of player and aggressive player that Frozen Phoenix is as he goes down, but Fire Island is going to be able to maintain that high ground pressure. They're going to be able to maintain themselves on the points, and look at these ult charges that we're currently seeing from Lucky Chu and Illusion now.
For the Monsoons, he said the alt charges are behind. I'm curious how Holy Chubb will hold the team together. He's kind of a mark. Again, this is a new team. Only their third week together. Holy Chubb has evolved to be the in-game leader for this team. So how can he direct them in fights? Keep an eye on him if he's able to help his team navigate this early hold.
See if they can navigate their way through this Photon barrier now too, as Illusion now is going to be able to make that space for Fire Island. You see the Maywall attempt from BBQ, but it doesn't fully block out the entryway as Lol now. He gets the pick onto Shadow Soul. No Dragon going in for this fight as Monsoons are down a man here. Now the Immortality Field was put out for Fire Island, but it was not put out fast enough to help out Illusion now and Lol. So now Monsoon, they have the man advantage and they are going to reclaim this point.
Can't quite get it. I like what the Monsoons have done, though. Anarchy staying alive as well. They've taken control of this point after a slow start here, Vicky.
Yeah, but they were able to do so quickly, too. Now Fire Island, they're going to be coming out of the spawn with only really the Shatter and the Deadeye, as Lol is going to be trying to take the high ground. But you can see with Crumb, how he's positioned on the high ground. He's got the Shatter ready. He's looking for the opportunity, but he needs to go right through Frozen Phoenix's shield.
Takes care of the Immortality Field. It's a chance here.
Oh, the Deadeye now coming in too from low, but he doesn't find anybody, and Frozen Phoenix gets taken out while he had Shatter at the ready. That Blizzard controlled so much space from BBQ that it really allowed Monsoon to help reset here, but a little overzealous as the pin doesn't find anybody, and Fulcrum is going to go down with the Shatter.
And we gotta keep our game of chicken up too here, Vicky, because we saw that last fight. Frozen Phoenix and Fulcrum, they both know they have their ults up, so they're trying to say, okay, when can I land a Shatter? When is his shield down? The Blizzard, as you pointed out, took down Frozen Phoenix. I thought it would be a great opportunity for Fulcrum to ult, but he ends up holding it. So I'm curious how this Reinhardt game of chicken is gonna play out. They both know they have Shatter. Who's gonna drop their shield first?
Ooh, and the Amp Matrix immediately while it gets set up by C-Square, he's going to get taken down, and that's going to be Low being on that Cassidy. That's going to put in so much pressure, but the double Shatter doesn't need anybody. Both Reinhardts, like you were saying, unfortunately Fulcrum, his Shatter doesn't land, but he holds up that shield against Phoenix, and Fire Island has completely booted Monsoon off of this point, and they have the sound barrier too to help go for that quick reset, which is the main difference that Monsoon does not have.
Nice sound barrier timed by Delirious there, but only ended up landing onto 2. Probably could have saved that shield. That was Fire Island's one chance in this fight.
With this Photon barrier, though, it's going to allow Fire Island to still stay on the point, nearing 90% already, while Monsoon are dropping like flies. They need to try to contest here immediately, especially since they're at 71%, but nobody here left to contest Fire Islands.
Last chance here for the Monsoons. If BBQ can get there, you see he has the Blizzard available. C-Squared would also have an Amp Matrix. They have the ults to win a fight, or Fulcrum's just going to solo the point by himself, it looks like.
He managed to get right back, and he managed to take out those turrets. Illusion now being able to set up on the point like that is going to be so crucial, but BBQ being on the Mei, this is going to allow BBQ to block off a lot of those entry points with those walls, and having the Blizzard is going to be key here, as BBQ needs to stay alive long enough to allow Anarchy to get that sound barrier. See if they can manage to do that now with the Deadeye finding CS squared, so now they won't have the Immortality Field, they won't have the Amp Matrix, but the Shatter doesn't find anybody in the back. Rather, it does find Fulcrum in the backline. It was Fulcrum that I was looking at as they get taken out. That's a 3-man from Monsoon getting affected by the Shattered overtime ticking away, as nobody from Monsoon could actually touch the point.
And I want to say it was Lol. He ends up concussing the Blizzard from BBQ and just canceling that ult that probably could have won the Monsoons the fight. He started with the Deadeye, got a huge kill, but I believe it was the concuss that stopped BBQ mid-animation. a great play game here from the Fire Islands and the Monsoons. Just it felt like they never could recover. They gave up 65% before they even flipped the point. I'm curious to see what changes they want to make because this comp feels pretty solid for the Monsoons. They just kept getting a couple of untimely deaths.
Yeah, especially on that point too of Nepal, you have to imagine the Mage just allowing so much space here for Monsoons. But Fire Island, the way that they were able to retake that, even trying to sandwich Monsoon was fantastic. We're seeing a different composition swap actually as Fire Islands, they're rolling out of the gates with the Sombra. So we know that game plan is to ensure that Lowell gets much more of that EMP charge so far for Fire Islands to approach the point with.
And I'm curious how much flanking Lowell will do. We've seen a couple of Sombras get caught where they land a big EMP. Yeah, he gets basically just run past. He's still chasing the Monsoon.
Is playing Ring Around the Rosie right now. Low does get out of that stealth mode, and he is trying to put down some of that pressure. Teleports right behind Monsoon, but Monsoon, they just see red. They're holding forward onto Fire Islands, even though Low was able to at least put in some pressure. Everybody else here from Fire Islands was pressured out of the front lines.
Fulcrum, I think, has an idea that Lowell's over it there, and I think this Sombra isn't working out like the Fire Islands wanted because, I mean, we've been watching Lowell. He finally gets in a fight now.
That was absolutely huge. Being able to hack Fulcrum right there means that they wouldn't have the shield to deny Fire Island's approach. Now they lose their main tank. They really only have Holy Chubb, who has that deployable barrier, but it's not going to be enough to deny a lot of this damage now that Fire Island is going to be able to roll out with.
They get a pick on the Holy Chubb as Fulcrum makes it in the fight. Anarchy get a little bit too aggressive for a boop there. Monsoons, once again, it's just those untimely deaths that cost them so much.
Shadow Soul does get hacked, and a Discord orb onto Shadow Soul too. He can't catch a break, but he manages to survive. Currently, with this Ant Matrix, it's going to be able to allow so much more space, but not going to do anything about Radius Boss, who is just sending out these spears, just putting down some pressure without getting denied.
Look at this stall here for the Monsoons. They bought an extra 10% after they had been wiped, so a great job there by Holy Chubb, and I think that was Anarchy who kind of went in. They'll maybe pay for it, but a great stall for Monsoons. They're already halfway there to get into this series even.
Also has that Gravitic Flux ready. Look at these ult charges for Fire Island in comparison to Monsoon. They do have that Shatter, but is it going to be enough with the Gravitic Flux to send Fire Island back? Now, with Illusion now going down, they can utilize those dragons to split up Monsoon, but look at this disengage that we're also seeing from Fire Islands. They know that they have the advantage here in terms of the ult economy, but they want to have the opportunity to create the space to deny Monsoon the ability to reclaim that point.
This looks like the Fire Islands. I mean, you were talking about the ults. They're going to have 6 going into this next fight. I'm curious. I'm assuming it starts with that Lowell EMP, but instead it'll be the Gravitic Flux.
Gravitic Flux to start things off. Let's see what Lowell's going to do, but the Gravitic Flux into the Dragon wipes out Monsoon. Takes care of 4. Can we see a 5th here? BBQ takes out a Lichu with them, but that's fine. That's going to allow Fire Islands to have the rally for the next fight.
And this is something that we saw last week from Meridian Tech and from the Everest. They stagger ults. You had 6 for the Fire Islands. You only had to use 2. You still have the EMP. You still have the Supercharger. You can see Lowell trying to set something up with the teleporter, but it does get destroyed. They want a big EMP, and Lowell's going to get it right here.
Exactly. Looks for the EMP. Gets a 5-man EMP. The only one that doesn't get EMP is C-squared. Could use the Immortality Field to keep Monsoon up. Unfortunately, after that EMP, nobody from Fire Islands went in for the push. Nobody wanted to go in for the engagement. The rally's been called in, but is it too little too late as they find the trade? Transcendence can upturn everything around with the Supercharger. But now Fire Islands just needed to get these picks, and right now it's not happening as Monsoon have already claimed 3 members off from Fire Islands as they are forced to reset.
That's been a reoccurring theme with Sombras in this Rumble. We saw it a lot last week, Vicky, as they go in, they land an EMP, but no one else on the team is either aware or was ready for it, and they just kind of throw themselves away. But now we get a great chance of the Lowell maybe looking for a flank here.
Now Fire Island is desperate to touch the point. They managed to do so successfully, forcing it into overtime. Fulcrum is so fully sending it on the support lineup. Delirious gets taken out. The Shatter and Monsoon now evening things up on this first map, 1-1 as we move on to round 3.
Score.
I like the Sombra pick, but it ended up just being a giant bait because the fights that they had the EMP, they either won without EMP when they had that crazy grab dragon combo that picked up a triple kill, and then the fight that we actually saw Lowell land a huge 5 EMP, no one else was there. I think they didn't even take any damage. They probably baited out an immortality field that they could have saved. So I hope they swap off. It looks like maybe from that bottom left preview that they are maybe going to pick the Tracer. I like the playstyle for LoL, but I don't think Sombra was the pick. They need something with some oomph, not just an EMP and wait. It's not Overwatch 2 yet, Vicky. That EMP doesn't do the increased damage yet.
Oh man, that's gonna be terrifying. I can't wait. But like you were saying, there was just no follow-up from that EMP, and it was unfortunate because that was the entire game plan that Fire Islands really wanted to rely on. That's why they went for the Sombra in general. But as we make some of those adjustments, we see the Tracer coming out. We see Illusion now actually with the Symmetra, so the Teleporter is gonna allow them to take this space first. And with this speed boost that we're currently seeing from Delirious, they're covering these angles quick. They're trying to prevent Monsoon from approaching on the other side, as you can see right here. Anarchy is doing the exact same thing with that speed boost to try to replace where they want to approach this next point. Fire Islands, though, they claim the point first in Monsoon. They're taking a lot of damage. Look at Fulcrum, but this is going to work into Anarchy's sound barrier.
And look at Lowell. He's just forcing them to look in so many different directions. They don't have the mobility that the Fire Islands do.
How does he do it? How does he do it, Fish? How does Frozen Phoenix get shattered so quick all the time off the gates with that Shattered Fire Islands? Win the first trade, and look at their ult economy. They are dominating right now, sending BBQ out running right back to the spawn point of Monsoon.
And the Tracer pick is so perfect here because you saw in that fight, you pointed out they're taking so much damage because they're looking left for Tracer. Then they have to look right back onto the point for the rest of the team. They can never just set their feet and fire. Lowell has been being a perfect gnat on the back line. We'll see if he can keep it up. And BDQ maybe looking for a big blizzard here to help Monsoons get back in this game.
Is going to try to go for a flanking approach, but they know. They have read them right here, Fish. Fire Island with the Photon Barrier to deny that space, but Illusion gets hacked here. Or rather, not hacked, frozen, as BBQ claims Illusion. Hasn't even utilized the Blizzard yet, as Monsoon want to conserve a lot of their ults. They see the trade in their favor, so they're not going to burn everything out after utilizing the Amp Matrix and the Sound Barrier.
And a great job there by the Monsoons. They held on to the Blizzard. That was just a solo freeze for BBQ. And now they have the Shatter going into Frozen Phoenix, who doesn't have anything. It's only Delirious' Sound Barrier that will be up in time for this next fight. And I'm curious if Fire Islands maybe just try and hold until something else of power, maybe a Diva Bomb, maybe the Shatter for Frozen Phoenix is up, because right now they're going to be looking at 4 ults, and a Sound Barrier keeping you alive maybe through 1, but not through 4.
You're going to see how they're going to try to utilize this, especially in terms of the opening. The Gravitic Flux is going to be crucial here from Holy Chubb, but with this Blizzard, it's going to deny the approach here that we are seeing from Fire Islands. They have the Sound Barrier to live through it, so Lowell actually gets to see another day with some of these swamps. Fire Island, they're doing it though. They're forcing their way onto this point, sending back Monsoon. It's just too much damage. The longer that Illusion now is in this fight, the better outcome Fire Island has in winning it.
Seemed like maybe just a miscue by Monsoons. They had the Blizzard, and I thought, okay, maybe you want to just trade Blizzard for Sound Barrier, but then they get like this weird last second trying hero play full from Shatter. So now he doesn't have a Shatter going into Frozen Phoenix's Shatter. He needs a Diva Bomb to start this.
Oh! The Shatter attempt right there, trying to get denied by Holy Chubb. You saw the accretion attempt here. Now the Gravitic Flux as Holy Chubb tries to play around the wall, tries to get out of their line of sight. The Photon Barrier isn't going to be able to block those dragons. You can see him trying to take a flanking approach, but the shield's up here for Frozen Phoenix. He wants to look for another Shatter, but after utilizing that Shatter, is he going to have enough time? I mean, they have the control over the point. They have the Amp Matrix. Where can Monsoon even approach from?
Overtime now, they have to get through the Amp Matrix, as you said, but they almost have an Amp Matrix of their own. C-Squared can save this for him, baby.
Oh, but he gets taken out almost immediately again by Lowell. They trade that, though, as Frozen Phoenix goes down. That's the main tank that won't be present for Fire Island, but this Sound Barrier now from Monsoon can help turn things around for Anarchy. There's so much damage coming out, and there's only 3 members left in this fight for Monsoon. You can see Fire Island, they're just holding back. They're disengaging, waiting for Frozen Phoenix to come back. They could afford to lose this point right now, but the moment that Fire Island comes in, they're going to have the Sound Barrier, they're going to have the Shatter, and they're going to have the advantage, especially since they're already at 99%.
And all the pressure for this next fight is going to be on Radius Boss. They're going to be 2 Blizzards up, but Radius Boss can eat the Blizzard from BBQ. The Monsoons don't have a Blizzard counter to Lowell unless they cancel the animation with a stun from Fulcrum or Holy Chubb with the accretion. Can Radius Boss eat either the Dragons or the Blizzard? I think he's going to tell you whether or not Fire Islands win this fight.
We gotta see, especially since he tried to block off Fulcrum with the Blizzard. The Immortality Field saves him. They have to get rid of the Immortality Field first if they want to take care of Fulcrum. Now Fulcrum gets to survive. He's getting healed up, but not before he gets denied immediately as he gets focused down by Delirious. And now you can see Monsoon here. He's just trying to play off the side, but Low is still putting on that pressure on the BBQ, but BBQ wins the trade. Fire Island now may have given way too much respect over to Monsoon, because now Monsoon have reversed the table here, and they're going to be approaching overtime soon. Oh, the Shatter though! It's no 3! Oh, but he couldn't touch the point!
Great body block there. I thought maybe they could turn it with the Shatter. The Monsoons pick up the win, and it really came down to, and you feel bad because there's nothing Delirious could have done, but he's Sound Barriered, and Sound Barrier just got outplayed by an Immortality Field because eventually the shields from Sound Barrier can't be eaten through, as you pointed out, Vicky. Nobody attacked the Immortality Field.
You have to get rid of that Immortality Field if you want to get your picks, and that's why that fight lasted so long too. Even though you had the ult advantage, it was that time to try to deny that space away from Monsoons, but unfortunately Fire Island was unable to do that for that last point.
We'll go to Havana for our next map. Again, winner of this has a really good chance to make the grand final against the Everest. So there's a lot of pressure on the Fire Islands, who I thought were going to pull it off on Nepal. They had several opportunities to do so, just couldn't quite get it done. And I'm curious how we'll see on Havana, because it was just the small things. I mean, they are down on match point right now, Vicky, because of an Immortality Field that it looked like a couple of them were shooting. That is the difference between them feeling really great about going to Havana. We only have to win one more map. And now we have to win Havana. Then we have to win another one. It's those small differences that are separating these two teams right now, which really shows how far the Monsoons have come since just starting at, I believe, like the 1st of January was their first ever organized practice.
Oh, wow. That's very impressive, and since we are going to be going on to Havana, we have to talk about what this map provides in terms of verticality, in terms of these open sightlines. That's going to help enable a lot more sniping play that we're going to see from both these teams. We're going to have to see, though, as we see BBQ, he's not on the main anymore. He's on the Reaper, and they're pushing all the way into the spawn currently, as Fire Islands want to play around this cart in the same fashion around Havana, but there's no Mei to deny that space, so it actually may be easier for Monsoon to actually reverse the situation on Fire Islands.
And they teleported right in front to stop the close hold, and now the Fire Island's taking a ton of damage. 2 early picks for the Monsoon.
Now Monsoon, they're out. They got to reset right here, as Fire Islands is going to be the winners of this trade. They're going to be able to get everything rolling soon here, but with this deniability, look at the way that they're playing so confident here. Sweatpants just dancing around this payload, just basically forcing Monsoon to decide what spawn point they want to exit out, what doors they want to try to contest with.
Teleport this time, they swap around Shadow Soul to the Reaper, see if that helps them out. Lukachu's going to have a Shatter in this first fight here for the Fire Islands too.
Oh, his Fulcrum though, he does have that Shatter ready from Monsoon. You see him send it out. He's caught all 6 members of Fire Island with that Shatter. The retaliation now coming in from Lukachu. It's found 5 members of Monsoon, but nobody from Fire Islands was left alive after that first Shatter from Fulcrum to even contest.
It's said all the time, Nikki. He who ults first wins. I mean, that was the difference, right? You get a 6-man Shatter versus a 5-man Shatter. Basically even, but Fulcrum ulted first, as you said. Lukachu kind of just threw one out as a Hail Mary, and it looked great on paper, but there was no follow-up. And it's interesting, Lukachu support on map 1, now a tank. They don't have Frozen Phoenix, who is a really strong player. I'm curious how they adapt without him in the tank lineup.
Want to change it up a little bit here. At least with the Sound Barrier, they could try to keep contesting Monsoon, but Monsoon had to answer themselves. They have the Sound Barrier, they have the Ant Matrix, which is a difference, as Delirious may want to send that out, but may not have the opportunity. He wants to back up Lukachu with that Shatter, put down the Immortality Field to help that survivability, and they win that next corner. It's going to be crucial, as Monsoon are going to be coming out of the gates with that Deadeye from BBQ being on that Cassidy, and Fulcrum is about to build up another Shatter.
Gotta worry, though, about the grab ult here with Lowell. Already has the Death Blossom ready to go. Shadow Soul's swapped heroes around so many times. He's only at 46%. So what answer will the Monsoons have? Because this should be an easy fight win. As long as Radius Boss can find a 4 or 5-man grab, you just let Death Blossom go and Lowell can win this. So it's going to probably be up to BBQ. You need a great concuss onto this Reaper. This is a very scary spot for the Monsoons, who do not have an ult, as here comes the Deadeye.
Oh, the Deadeye though from BBQ at least does find Delirious, so it denies the Immortality Field, but it's fine. With that grab, with that Death Blossom that you were just talking about, Fish, they wipe out all of Monsoons, and now it's gonna have to be a quick reset with less than a minute now on the clock.
60 seconds remaining.
Good news for Monsoons is Fulcrum's got another Shatter, and we've already seen what he can do with it. They have the Diva Bomb as well if they kind of want that counter, or if they want that extra damage with the Shatter, because they don't really have any other ults up right now. It's all eyes on Fulcrum here, Vicky. He's got to land something huge to keep this team alive and keep this card pushing.
See if he can go in for a little cheeky Shatter. You see him rounding the corner. The bubble being put up by Radius Plus to get more of that extra damage, but he lands the Shatter, hits two, needs to focus on Sweatpants, but Sweatpants gets away. They don't deny him, and he's going to build up that sound barrier, which is going to allow Fire Islands to live through this.
They did get pick on
they
the
actually
Lucky
take
Chew,
care of
though.
him.
While we were watching the Shatter, Lukachu also went down, Vicky, so despite the Shatter not getting any value, there was just no front line for the Fire Islands to rely on anyway.
Now with less than 5 seconds on the clock, they're going to be able to get this point if they can deny Fire Islands, but with the Stowberry saved up, the nice Shatter being blocked out by Fulcrum, overtime being taken away, but even though you blocked out the Shatter, you don't block out being pinned. Now Monsoon are dropping like flies, and even though they were so close to that first point, Fire Islands gets to fully hold back Monsoons.
Score.
And I'm curious how that will affect the Monsoons, if that will change their strategy. I don't know if they're a close hold team or not, but now you basically have to close hold here, Vicky, because as you pointed out, look how little room the Fire Islands gave them Monsoons. I'm curious if they practice a close hold. If they have, this is perfect. If they haven't, this makes this map that much harder.
We're going to see some of these adjustments coming out, because I feel like really the big problem at the very end there was those rotation of ults and the way that Fire Island was able to conserve their ults going into the next fight, understanding the situation. When Sweatpants went down, even though we had 3 to 4 other members of Fire Islands going down as well, you had that speed boost to boost everybody in the team back towards the point. You have the sound barrier to contest. You were right behind Lukachu, who had gone down before Sweatpants, so you had the protection of the barrier. Meanwhile, Monsoons, they were rounding the corner with the payload. They were inching their way to that first point, but were unfortunately denied since they had used all of their abilities, all of their ults in the fight just before that. So they had nothing to defend against Fire Islands that still had a good set of their ults of their own.
Well, hello. Hello.
I mean, Monsoons, they set up for the close hold. I'm curious. I like the comp, though, that going into a May is going to make this a bit harder. I think, though, all eyes, of course, are going to be on Lukachu and Fulcrum. They are building their Shatters so fast. Vicky, we saw in that first fight, they basically shattered at the same time when the Monsoons were attacking. So how will they handle it this time? Who will be able to shatter first? It's got to be Fulcrum if the Monsoons want to be able to win this match. Because one lost fight and it's game.
Pace is going to be so important right here for this initial fight, but with Illusion being on the Doomfist, it may throw a wrench into Monsoon's plans. We're going to see, especially at this point of Havana, those walls, the alleyways really do allow Illusion to pop off. But the walls, actually talking about walls, blocking out Lukachu, who is so lucky to see another day as they managed to get away from that situation even after getting disported. That's the survivability that Sweatpants provides. The Doofus now coming in from Illusion now, but he gets taken out. Look at the follow-up that we just saw. The split attention between Shadow Soul, between Holy Chubb. That's going to build into the Graphitic Flux for Holy Chubb as well.
A couple of last-second picks here on the Anarchy, but I think the Monsoons have won this, and you look at the ult percentages you're mentioning, all basically in favor of the Monsoons. Lukachu and Fulcrum are very close, though. But the Monsoons should be able to ult first if they want a Riptire, if they want a Gravitic Flux from Holy Chubb. They have control of this next fight as long as they take command and ult first, and there it is.
It's so important too, especially since Monsoons were unable to get that first point. Fire Island need to get this momentum. The Immortality Field saves 3 members who go so low, including Low and Illusion now. Lukachu is about to build up that Shatter that you were talking about before too. But the angles that Monsoon are taking, it's forcing Fire Islands to split up so much of their attention, both left to right, where they need to focus on one opponent, but with the Shatter, it's going to be lethal. Oh, the Shatter going in! The Dragon's getting put down! Oh, the follow-up going in! 2 fish! Lukachu tries to save themselves behind the Immortality Field, but with that Riptire from BBQ, it doesn't find anybody thanks to the Immortality Field, but the cleanup with the rest of Monsoons as Fulcrum moves up, they don't even have to waste the Shatter for this next fight.
I thought for sure Lukachu had won it. I was waiting for Fulcrum's response, but that is so huge they get to hold on to it because everything else is favoring the Fire Islands, Vicky. They have 4 ults up. They have the Blizzard. They have the Meteor Strike. They have the Ant Matrix to start off the fight. Fulcrum's going to have another Miracle Shatter, I think, for the Monsoons to stay alive because I think if they lose one more, they're done.
The Blizzard being called in from LoL. You see so much damage being put out. Sweatpants can't even have the sound barrier on board as Sweatpants goes down. Had used the sound barrier in the fight before. That's what we're referring to with so much of their economy being used up. Shadow Soul is still alive on this high ground, and we talked about sightlines. We talked about Havana, and this is what I was worried about. With these sightlines being provided to Shadow Soul, he's going to have free reign over all of the rest of Fire Islands who want to make this approach down the alleyway.
And they had to burn that Meteor Strike, and as you said, Shadow Soul lived. Now they only have 2 of those ults. They still have the Ant Matrix, though, and they have a great long sightline right down this payload. I want to see him pop it, but there's only 60 seconds left. The Monsoons might do what I thought was impossible and close hold after being close held themselves.
This is so crazy, too, because you currently saw Monsoon, like you said, getting fully held. Meanwhile, they're going to fully hold Fire Islands back from behind this corner, not even able to turn the corner off of their spawn. And the way that they're playing this so spread out is allowing Shadow Soul to get so much. The Ant Matrix is out, though, so they could take him out. The Riptire now coming in from BBQ, but it finds LoL. Huge pick here, as LoL was the only one from Fire Islands that could have contested Shadow Soul from above.
They counter the grab perfectly with the Transcendence. Monsoons just have all the answers right now.
Oh, the shatter, the follow. BBQ is still unstoppable. Fire Islands can't even see another day as Monsoon keeps denying them, sending them back to the spawn. With less than 10 seconds, can they even touch this point?
I don't think they can, especially with the pick onto LoL. The Monsoons just close hold even better.
What a
Wow.
way to close that out. Monsoon on another level after fully holding Fire Islands back.
I didn't think the Monsoons could do it, but it felt like Fire Islands just kept feeling the pressure that I don't think was ever there. You saw a crazy ult from Lukachu that really didn't even need to be used, and then they just kept being staggered so well. They couldn't even get down the sightline to drop that Ant Matrix for about 60 seconds. So the Monsoons put themselves in a great position. We'll have to see how our last match of the group stage coming up in just a little bit will go. But again, we want to remind everyone that going at it alone can only get you so far. Ultimately, if you want to increase your chances of success, you have to level up your teaming skills. We saw that with the Monsoons. They came together and close held perfectly. Again, don't know if they'd ever practiced that, but they were forced into for that situation, and they got the job done to pull out the victory. Esports Tower really takes time to create teams of well-matched teammates. Give a shout out to the coaches, especially Apollo, the head coach for the Overwatch Rumbles. They've been doing a great job. If you're watching and you haven't checked out Esports Tower Club State, you should. It is the fast track to rank up. But before we take a break, before we get into our final stage of the group stage, we are going to be joined by a very special guest here in just a little bit. Vicky, we've been talking about Stevens College. They joined us last week, had some incredibly close games, had a very tough schedule. I don't know who designed the schedule, but gave them Meridian Tech and the Everest, who are 2 of the top teams in this Rumble. But their head coach, Adrian McIntyre, is going to join us to talk a little bit about Stevens College. So they should be able, hopefully she'll be able to join us here in just a few moments. But again, they were very impressive last week, Vicky, for the very tough schedule that they were given.
Yeah, it's really impressive to see how they were able to come out swinging against a team like Meridian Tech, and just the way that they were able to put on a performance, forcing them to adapt around their playstyle, especially when it came to the pharmacy. That was their bread and butter in terms of compositions and what they looked to be the most strongest on too.
Again, waiting for her to join us. Again, the other cool thing that I really do want to know about is they hosted an all-girls Overwatch clinic the first week of February. That kind of inspired them to join this Rumble a few weeks later. And it is always very cool to see, Vicky, when you get more and more people involved in esports. I know it's a more male-dominated field, but the more girls you can get into it, it's a ton of fun because there's some very impressive female players. I believe some of them in the Esports Tower are also female as well. There's some very impressive girl players out there who would kick my butt up and down Overwatch any day of the week.
It's a great way to also put a spotlight on a lot of these talented women who we don't really get to see very often. But, now with Esports Tower just allowing Stevenson College to just come in and actually perform to their best potential, it allows us to take a look at the diversity that it brings into the competition.
Looks like we might be having some issues with the interview there. So we will take a quick break. Hopefully, we'll be able to hear from the head coach of Stevens College. If not, we'll continue with the Rumble. So we'll take a break. Coming up, our final group stage game of the night. It's the Fire Islands versus Meridian Tech. We'll see who comes out on top. We'll see who joins the Everest in the grand final. It's all coming up right after this.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back into this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. We are wrapping up this Rumble in the group stage here. We've got one game left between the Fire Islands and Meridian Tech, and we can set up everything that's going on after that. Who's going to make the grand finals? Of course, we know the Everests are already there. We're just waiting to see who else will clinch that spot. But before we do that, Fish and Mickey Kitty here have been calling all of the action over the last 2 weeks. We are going to be able to have our interview here with the head coach of Stevens College. You should be able to join us here in any moment now to talk about Stevens College. Of course, we saw them last week in our Rumble, as we were talking about, had a very, very tough schedule, taking on teams like Meridian Tech, taking on the Everest as well. We are so glad that she is able to join us now. And how are you doing? How is participating in that Rumble for you guys?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we had 3 girls come and join us, and it was kind of a crash course in like what to expect in like high pressure teams and college scene. So it was a lot of fun.
And I know you guys had an all-girls Overwatch clinic that we were talking a little bit about before you joined us. Tell us a little bit about that clinic, what went into it, how many girls you had participate. Kind of let us to give us the know about that.
Yeah, so I mean, Stevens College is a women's college, and we're always looking to try to incorporate and diversify the industry. So we put basically a notice out saying, hey, like we're hosting this this workshop for any girls that are interested. Doesn't matter what grade you are. It doesn't matter if you've been planned to come to Stevens. We just want to give you this opportunity. We had 3 girls show up. I wish we'd been able to have more, but it was a great like first workshop for us. It's the first time we've done anything like this, and it was a week long. So because we had the 3 girls, they got a lot of like individual work. My assistant coach and one of my previous players hopped on and helped out too. So it was good. They definitely after the rumble, like we talked, and they were like, we learned a lot. Like we didn't think that we would learn this much in just 4 days of playing as essentially a pug team.
And you guys have been able to take a lot from your first experience. I mean, what is the best part of being able to play so far in the Esports Tower Rumble for you?
Um, Honestly, just being able to have that like quick like 1 day tournament. It's a really good place for us to do these workshops so that the girls that we work with can get that competitive experience, but it's not a loosely structured or long-term thing. Um, so I really like being able to join these and give them that opportunity.
And we'll let you go on this one. I know you're the head coach of the program there at Stevens College. Tell us more about the rest of the program. I mean, we obviously know you guys have a very talented Overwatch team. What else do you guys have? What other games do you play? I mean, tell us all we need to know about your program, because you were very impressive last week when you guys were playing some of the top teams in the
Um,
Rumble.
Thank you. Yeah, so our program I think is very unique. Aside from being a women's program, we focus on the entire industry. We don't just focus on competitive gaming. So we have actually opened the program up to every competitive title that is currently being offered for casual and competitive players. If you're a casual player and you maybe didn't get the opportunity to be on a high school esports program, that's okay. You can come in. You'll still get the same opportunities as our competitive players will. You'll still get to work with our program. You'll still get access to everything. Um, every semester we do Q&As with industry professionals. Like we got the chance to speak with Anjali Bhimani my first semester here. Met Sean Plott. So we do a lot of like educational stuff too. And we one of my last seniors actually had the opportunity to interview through Esports CCP, which we worked with a lot last year. And right out of college, she got like her dream job at the Bragg House. So um, we focus on everything. And the best part about our program is all of our students are guaranteed a minimum scholarship. It doesn't matter what you come into the program for.
That is awesome. I
Wow.
appreciate you joining us, telling us about the program, and hopefully, we gave you guys a really tough schedule. I do feel really bad that we made you guys play the two best teams. So hopefully, you guys come back in the future, because, like I said, your team was very, very impressive. Thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to see what you guys are doing down there at Stevens College. It sounds like an awesome opportunity for any girl in esports who wants to get involved.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be back. I think that I'll probably sign my regular roster up for one of these sometime soon and see how it goes. So
There you go. Bring the heat after we kind of put you through the ringer. So thank you again for joining us.
Yes.
I can't wait to see you guys next Rumble.
yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
That was the head coach of Stevens College, Vicky. And you can tell they were like, okay, you guys gave us a tough schedule. We're gonna come with the heat next week. Next time we're in the Rumble, we're gonna come with the fire. We're gonna come with the sauce for you guys.
What's crazy is that they put on such a great performance for their first time and playing against our top heavy hitters for teams and doing such a good job against them too. So I'm so excited to see more of their roster coming up to in the competition.
Well, as we transition, we keep our Rumble going. It's our final game of the group stage here, and it is the Fire Islands taking on Meridian Tech. And here's how it breaks down for you, Vicky. You got some of the back end knowledge for you. The grand finals already has the Everest in it. If Meridian Tech wins, Meridian Tech will guarantee the rematch. If the Fire Islands win, It's actually the Monsoons who will advance on match score to the grand final. So the Monsoons are stuck at home, watching and waiting, rooting for their older brother, the Fire Islands, to win so they can make the grand finals. If Meridian Tech wins this, they will just simply advance flat out. So Fire Islands can't make it, but they can help out younger brother if they can pick up the win in our final series of the group stage.
That would be absolutely insane. Griefing the opportunity for Meridian Tech to get the run back. What better way to put salt on the wound? But you know what? That's going to give Meridian Tech an opportunity to see if they could dethrone Fire Islands and prevent that from happening, because they want that run back, especially against a team as strong as Everest.
Before we hop into this final match of the group stage, let's give you Doc's keys to the game as presented by the Esports Tower. You can score pro advice at esportstower.com. Remember, whoever wins, it gets kind of tricky. Fire Islands win, Monsoons advance to the grand finals to take on the Everest, who are already there. They have been dominating. They dominated last week. Meridian Tech wins. They are on to the grand finals themselves. And as Vicky mentioned, we get the run back of the run back. They already lost to the Everest last week, but they lost to the Everest the week before in the grand final. So it'd be 3 straight weeks of the Meridian Tech and the Everest playing each other. These teams know each other very well. We go to Ilios, a map we actually have not seen at all in this Rumble. So we'll see who comes out on top. Fire Islands, Meridian Tech, best of 3, final game of the group stage.
What's great to highlight here is if Fire Islands manages to beat Meridian Tech, that's also going to give some insight to Everest and what they could expect, since Fire Islands were the squad who managed to take care of Monsoons in that first series that we just got to watch in a clean 2-0. So now as Fire Islands gets set up here, they're looking to try to claim Meridian Tech, and Meridian Tech has been one of our other consistent squads. We just highlighted them as the opposition against our last Rumble just last week against Stevens College. Now Meridian Tech want to be able to put up that performance to try to get the run back in the grand finals.
All eyes are on Soup. He was our player of the game last week. What can he do on this Echo? And he nearly gets that far and take it down out of the sky.
And we're just going to have a skyward battle here, especially seeing Soup being on this Echo. You have to imagine Illusion now having the pharmacy with Lowell being on the Mercy. Japers gets taken down first, though. That means Soup doesn't have that sustainability and support that Illusion now does. So they're just going to have to hold back for now and go in for a reset.
And with Soup up in the air, you know, Meridian Tech feels like they lost a little bit of their oomph, but I like the squad they're running. They've got Eternal Flame, they've got Burning, they've got Big Boofus, all heroes from their game last week against Stevens College in a crazy series, and we'll see what they can do on this next fight here. Gotta keep an eye on Soup, who's now on that Cassidy.
Jeebers going so low. You talk about Cassidy. Soup is going to be able to put in so much pressure onto Low, so much pressure onto Illusion. Now you see the Doomfist too coming from Bernie. Going to be able to control a lot more of that grounded space and disrupt the piece from Radius Boss, who does not have that Shatter yet, but this Coalescence from Delirious could enable Illusion now to get into a flanking position for that Rocket Rush.
Nano Burning here. Let's see what Burning can do. He at least picks up one on the Radius Boss.
Oh, you see Illusion now, too, finding Eternal Flame, denying that support, too, as Kings goes down. That's 3 head for Meridian going down as Fire Islands take control over the point first. Here comes the Rocket Barrage. It's just to control that space. They're nearing already 60% with no contention from Meridian Technical.
And I wonder if they intended to nano Burning, because as Burning got the nano, King Swiffer got taken out. So I wonder if they're like, nano me, I'm low. He couldn't survive long enough for the travel time, and that's why that nano goes on to Burning, because he didn't have an ult. It wasn't like it was a backline flank. But I'm curious to see if that ends up costing him. There's now 4 ults, and here they come to Fire Island.
No. The Shatter and the Immortality Field from Eternal Flame to save everybody, but you can't save everybody through a Death Blossom once that Immortality Field gets deleted. That's more time wasted for Meridian Tech and more time bought for Fire Islands as they have nobody to contend the point.
The one thing, though, that a lot of the teams like the Everest and Stevens College did is they staggered ults. Fire Islands blew every ult they had in that fight. They have nothing left, Vicky, except this Diva buff.
They do have that res, though, onto Burning. Maybe Burning can get something started, but the Shatter gets denied. Meridian Tech, though, are not in this play as Illusion now finds both tank lineups with the Rocket Barrage. Burning denies Illusion now, but it's too little, too late. The team wipe as Fire Islands takes the first round.
I don't know what it has been. I don't know if we missed something on Farah, but Farah has been absolutely dominant in this Rumble. Last week for Stevens College, I mean, as you pointed out, Illusion now gets a double with the Rocket Barrage before getting taken out. I mean, you see Soup at least hovering the Pharah right now. Everyone has loved the Pharah in this Week 3 Rumble, and for good reason. She has paid off time and time again.
What's unfortunate is that with Burning, even though Burning got that pick after Illusion now had sent out that Rocket Barrage, Burning being on this Doomfist makes it a little difficult to really contest Illusion now, especially while they're getting pocketed with Lull being on the Mercy. It was up to Soup right there on the Cassidy to deny that on the hit scan roll. So now Meridian Tech, they know they're going to come out with the Pharah, as Ilios does provide a lot of that verticality that we keep talking about since last week, how a lot of these Pharahs could go in for that quick reset as well as the Echoes. So now Illusion now is going to be able to take to the skies with Lull, just giving them that support. And you see Burning trying to take these off angles. Oh, a nice first pick here, but not without a trade. As you see, Kings gets immediately swept off by Sweatpants onto the middle. Well, and now Fire Islands, they have all their members up and alive. Meridian Tech are playing out of this disadvantage as the first point does go in favor for Fire Islands.
One thing I do like for Meridian Tech, though, it's never a disadvantage, as we learned last week when Big Boofus is alive on that Roadhog, Vicky. He does not miss these hooks. He held a point 1v6 last week for about 45 seconds. If Big Boofus is alive, especially on this map where there's an easy environmental target, that hole-in-one right in the middle, Fire Islands has to be tracking that Roadhog at all times.
Yeah, we've seen the destruction that Big Boofus has on the Roadhog here, especially on this map, like you were saying, the Well providing a lot of that advantage. But with this Rip Tire, Sweatpants was looking for a pick. He finds the pick onto Jabers, and that's both supports out for Meridian Tech. Now Fire Island's winning another trade here, even though they're giving some of the space over to Meridian. They know that they've won the trade. They've only lost Sweatpants, and Lowell's about to get the Valkyrie online.
Illusion has been insane, and again, we saw this before. Pharah's dominating. What do? You go Cassidy and you go Soldier. That's exactly what Meridian Tech has working. The part about these Pharahs we've seen, they're not dying to their normal counters. They're popping off against their normal counters.
It's crazy to see how Fire Islands is playing, to understanding what they want to roll into. You saw Meridian Tech make those adjustments with the Pharah being out in play from Illusion now, but with Burn being taken out and Illusion now going into the flank, Soup can't even deny the ability that Illusion now has had as an impact onto this team. Even Lull is getting ahead of themselves with the Mercy pistol. We got the Battle Mercy out, we have the Res coming in, the Valk is online, and they haven't even needed to burn these ultimates yet. They're just waiting for Meridian Tech to roll right in.
Well, here's your best chance if you're Tech. You're going to have the Deadeye up for Soup on the Cassidy. You're going to have the Whole Hog up for Big Boofus. You're going into a couple of ults. Soup has got to get a pick with this Deadeye ASAP, and you hope it's on the Illusion now.
You gotta deny the Valk too, or you have to deny the Pharah here. Lull gets taken out by the Deadeye. You can see Meridian Tech though are falling like flies. We highlighted Big Boofus, but we need to look at Radius Boss right now. The way that Radius Boss with the Whole Hog cleared that entire point. We got Fire Island making some waves here.
In Soup, I mean, you can never ask for too much from one player. He got half of the Pharmacy out of the sky. He killed the Mercy on the Valk, but he could kill Illusion now. And then, as you pointed out, Radius Boss on the Roadhog saying, you know, we sing the praises of Big Boofus and his amazing Roadhog. Well, let me show you a thing too about Roadhog. And the Fire Islands come out swinging here in game number 1. We'll go to Junkertown as our next map. Again, remember, Meridian Tech comes back for the reverse sweep here. They're out of the grand finals for the run back. If Fire Islands wins, it's their little brother, the Monsoons, that will make their first ever grand finals appearance on a tiebreaker. So Fire Islands so far have little brother all excited right now, Vicky, after that first map, because they dominated on Ilios.
Yeah, they have the advantage. You just need to take one more map to allow Monsoons to be the ones to face off against the triumphant Everest that have been so consistent so far. And now as we move on to Junkertown, like you were highlighting as we go on to game number 2, we have to recap what happened last week to Meridian Tech when they were playing on Junkertown against Everest, and some of the adaptability that we're going to be seeing from Meridian Tech after that map too, because they were dominated on by Everest, especially looking at those line of sight zones that Hanzo provides and the Widowmaker. So we're going to have to see how that works into Meridian Tech's favor.
I'm curious if Fire Islands, I mean, I don't know if you can have anyone who's as confident as Panda Squad, but I'm curious, hey, you see Fire Islands, they don't come out with any snipers. Soup's on the Widowmaker, Fire Islands on defense has no snipers, so they clearly aren't going to have that dominating sightline control like we saw from Meridian Tech. Instead, they're kind of going more for a Nanoblade comp, so keep your eyes on Delirious, keep your eyes on Lowell. How fast can the two of them build that combo? Because that is a team fight winning combo, but if it takes you 5 or 6 minutes to build, Vicky, you lose all the momentum. So how fast can you get that Nanoblade ready to be key?
We're gonna have to see here too. With Fire Islands having that Nanoblade ready, Lowell needs to get a lot closer to that blade. You have Illusion now to be able to put on some of that pressure from afar, have some distance with Soup being on this Widow. We talked about the Widowmaker, we talked about how snipers have those line of sights here in this initial map, and Soup is just trying to get an off angle right here, but Meridian Tech, it's all forward as they're moving all the way up, trying to cross this next corner, and they're not getting denied by Fire Islands. Nobody's gone down just yet.
To build a Nanoblade, so they're just giving up space. Now Radiant Boss finally goes down. That's going to enable to push even more. 85% for the blade, but the Nano's not close right now.
See Soup too, still putting on so much pressure from far away. They are going to be able to take that first too, but Fire Islands, just like you were saying, they want to build into this blade, but with Delirious out and without the Nano Boost, they don't want to waste out this blade that Lowell's already built up.
Finally get a pick on to Soup. It's the first kill for the Fire Islands. How fast Delirious can get this last working spread? They're going to blade anyway.
Oh yeah, he's gonna blade anyway, says they don't need the Nano Boost in this situation. You see the sleeping Reinhardt put the hook as he gets pulled away from Lowell's line of sight. Fire Islands now have been able to hold back for attack, but look how close a payload got to the point.
And I wonder who made that call for the Fire Islands. It's eventually like, okay, we have to go now, because Lowell does pop the blade. The Nano's up. They maybe drop it on a tank, maybe they drop it on an attack visor as well. We'll have to see, but with Radiant Spots going down, Meridian Tech and a 65 just needs to push with their ult advantage.
They do have the Coalescence. They're probably going to approach with the Coalescence right here. Nice anti onto Big Goofus. Coalescence is going to be that saving grace to try to approach here. They're going to need to use it now that Fire Islands is going to be able to Nano Boost. And now Tac Visor, they have a Supercharger on top of that for all the extra damage. But now they just took way too long to approach that next corner. Looking at Meridian Tech, and they lost too many members. It's going to have to be another reset and wasting more time from their overall time back of a minute and less than 40 seconds.
I kind of wanted to see Delirious maybe hold that Nano because Lowell's going to be close to a blade. If they can pull off a Nano Blade here in this fight, they could maybe win it. But they can Supercharger for damage, as you mentioned. But watch out, do they go Coalescence into Shatter here for Jerb and Eternal Flame?
Go the Supercharger now to give that damage boost, but Radius Boss gets taken out in the middle of that whole hog. He got antied, huge anti from Feb Neptune. Now the Dead Eye on top of that, the Shatter to be the cherry on top, and this is the Coalescence approach that I was originally expecting from Meridian Tech. But you know what? Better late than never, as they're about to approach less than a minute on the clock for them to take this first point alone.
And that fight was probably about 100 HP or less. A different fight is Eternal Flame gets burst down, but he barely survives. A great nano from Fem Neptune keeps him alive after that anti that you highlighted, and then he's able to pop the Shatter. So close. If they kill Eternal Flame, Fire Islands can keep pushing. Now, do they hold the blade here is my question. The blade without nano is only so strong, Nikki. I'm curious if they just hold it for Delirious to build up a nano, but that's a couple fights away.
Yeah, although Radius Boss does get taken out, another anti-follow-up that Radius Boss gets caught into. You have to imagine Low maybe holding on to that blade further because they're already playing at a disadvantage. And Illusion now going down, that's going to be a 4-man team waiting for Radius Boss to make it through from the spawn point. Tech understand that they have the advantage, but with that blade, Low says, we're going to try to even this up real quick. Nice big anti. Can we get a follow-up here as Big Foofus gets taken out? With the anti, he is unable to even execute the whole hog, and Soup does get to live, but look at the way that Low's been able to get so much advantage off of these blades alone without even the nano boost.
I can't wait to see when the Nano and the Blade are up together. As you highlighted, Lowell maybe bit off more than he can chew here, but he has been the driving force for this team. How fast he can build these blades, and Radius Boss keeps getting caught. He's got to fix that because it's giving Meridian Tech these windows into more and more fights.
it's giving Meridian Tech also momentum and building up so much space for them because they know that there's no threat of the looming Roadhog to actually stop them. So with this ante from Big Boofus, he's putting Put to sleep, but it's okay. The rest of Meridian Tech, they're right there alongside him. And even though they lost so much time for that first point, look how much time that they were able to build up for themselves now going up to the second point. And look at this ult bank that we're also seeing from Meridian Tech as they're approaching the finish zone.
Nano's gonna be up. I'm curious if they hold it for LOL or not. They'll have the time to. As we see Burning also have that Deadeye, so they have plenty of ults to answer here for Fire Island, but we gotta stay alive. If Big Boofus outlives you, Meridian Tech's gonna win fight after fight. Keep your eyes on LOL. He's at 60%, trying to climb to get a Nano Blade up, as they're gonna start with the Transcendent.
But the Shatter doesn't find anybody here onto Fire Island. Meridian Tech gets stopped clearly right behind the payload here after that attempt. We're going to see the quick swap from Eternal Flame into the Sigma. I like the approach, but that did force out the Transcendence, which Meridian Tech did not waste a lot of their own ults. They still have 4 ults online here. They're still waiting on that nano boost from Fem Neptune, and that's going to be crucial here with Eternal Flame able to build up that Gravitic Flux.
LOL's gonna have the blade in this fight. We get our first Nano Blade here. Hopefully keep your eyes on LOL, but Radiant Spot's already taken low.
See Soup now with the Tech Visor. You find LOL. That's going to be huge here. It won't be deflected. It won't be able to build into that blade, but LOL's going to be going down with almost the blade, so he's going to be coming back with Radius Bust. Is it too little too late, though, as Meridian Tech are going to bounce around the corner. They're going to be able to deny that Supercharger that LOL really wants as he moves in with the blade.
Might be a Hail Mary blade here, but LOL goes down again. He's died twice with the blade, and when your comp's built around Nano Blade, if you can't blade in 2 straight fights, that's going to be a terrible situation.
Oh, he got sent flying in his line of sight. Deadeye catching Radius Boss again. It's like you were. They didn't really have the shield really up in front of Fire Island to allow that blade to really come out, but we were expecting the Nano Blade, but we really didn't get that piece of the pie here from Fire Island.
And all Will's really starts with a great pick. The fight before this from Soup, he kills LOL at 98%. As you mentioned, Vic, you don't know if the deflect was on cooldown or if he just got caught off guard. If LOL's allowed to live, we could still be playing on that map. Instead, you've got a minute 34 on the clock for Meridian Tech. I'm curious what the Fire Islands will do. I hope they don't try and run it back with the Nano Blade comp. We'll see here in a few seconds, because it just didn't have the hook, but it looks like they're going to try it again. We'll see if Delirious and LOL can be a bit more on sync this time.
I feel like what we really needed to see as well is more survivability from Fire Island's tanks. We saw Radius Boss being the first one to go down a lot in those entry fights from Meridian Tech. Radius Boss is making that swap over to the ball, but a lot of the times to allow that space, to allow LOL to move in, even without that nano boost, he needs those shields to help build up that space. So maybe we're getting a swap up here, or maybe we're going to see Fire Islands just rely more so on that nano blade, but we're going to have to see here since they were kind of denied the nano blade a lot for that first round.
5, 4.
You make a great point, too, about Radius Boss. I mean, as much as we target LOL for the untimely deaths, Radius Boss, as you pointed out, needs to stay alive. I'm also curious, how does Illusion do into this pharmacy? Illusion's basically the only have with the Genji, so they're going to have to get some clutch headshots onto Soup or the Mercy to be hopefully able to deny that pharmacy power, because Farah has basically won almost every map she's been a part of so far these week 3 rumbles this week and last week.
Ooh, and for this iteration of Junkertown here, for this first point, Farah really does shine, but so does the Widow, so does the Hanzo, and Illusion now being on this Widow is trying to claim Soup's head. You see Jabers does have that survivability and helping him out. You're going to get the res immediately, but while Jabers was too busy getting that res up to Eternal Flame to get that main tank on board, to get that Soup gets taken out, and now so does Neptune. That res is all for naught as Eternal Flame goes down alongside Neptune. And now Fire Island, they're just trying to get their footing here. They're trying to keep up this momentum as Meridian Tech are forced to reset.
Fire Island's just so much faster pushing this payload than Meridian Tech was, as LOL somehow kills Soup on the Genji. That is a fantastic kill onto the Farah, and now he's just going to blade once again without a nano.
He's fully sending it. He's fully sending it, and he's doing it. He doesn't need the nano boost here. He claims the main support. He claims burning, denying not only the Valk, but the Deadeye as well. So Eternal Flame after that reset, this is going to give so much space to Fire Islands to move in.
Radius boss. Keeping our eyes on you. The Wrecking Ball does have a bit more mobility and survivability than the Roadhog does as they catch Soup behind enemy lines. And Fire Islands, they're just zooming through this map. I mean, the only thing holding them back is how fast they're choosing to push the payload.
Absolutely insane to see this different play from Ireland. I love a lot of these swap-ups that we've seen. From Radius Boss being on the ball, those minefields are going to deny those entry points that Meridian Technical is going to be pushing through. But you do have Big Boopus with that whole hawk. You see the Deadeye. Depends here with those conservations on those ults, how they're going to try to play this. But here comes that nano boost. No play this time around. We're just swapping places. But this is the Deadeye I was talking about here. The Deadeye from Burning was going to be able to make the statement here. And it's found the support lineup, which means there's no sustainability left for Fire Islands.
The fact that they got that nano taken care of is, well, we've seen some great Deadeyes here. Burning, the latest in line, and I like Soup on this Tracer now. It's going to provide them some backline pressure to Fire Islands because Illusion now to hang back with Delirious, with Sweatpants, while Radius Boss and Lowell are just in the front line. So if Soup can get value, especially on this Widowmaker, it's probably going to Illusion now to swap, and it's going to take out a lot of the pressure that Fire Islands have from those back and sight lines. They take a ton of damage on the Lowell as well.
Oh, what a way to get out of that situation. The Diva Bomb not finding anybody, and Soup gets put to sleep, but the Nano Boost now going on board as Fire Islands now is trying to eat up all this damage, but they've just been falling like flies. The Meridian Tech win another fight though, but this is a great way for Meridian Tech to reset, build up their ults, because look at this. They have the Shatter, they're gonna have the whole hawk for the next fight, and Burning is already nearing that Deadeye, as well as the Valk that Jaybird really needs for the fight.
And I think the question, again, for Fire Islands, it really remains as Illusion now does swap over to that Hanzo to have a little bit more mobility. Does Lowell try and just YOLO send the Genji Blade by himself, or will he wait for Sweatpants, who's probably a fight away, I would assume, based on how he's been charging the Nano, for the actual Nano Blade combo? So keep your eyes on Lowell here. If he chooses to ult, that can either really help or really hurt Fire Islands' comp.
Illusion now going down here. Low may want to hold on to this, especially since Burning still has a Deadeye. Burning being on the Cassidy is going to be able to deny a lot of that, but look at you eating up that pulse bomb from Soup, and now the follow-up as Low still manages to get the pick onto Jaybirds, but Burning with the Deadeye has taken out the support lineup, which means that Low did not have that sustainability. These Deadeyes from Burning have consistently gotten the support lineup of Fire Islands.
I like the attempt from Lowell. He says, I see Jaybirds in a punishable position, but now your Nano and your Blade just are still unsynced, Vicky, and so now the question becomes, well, who do you look to Nano here? Will it be Radius Boss as goes in for a minefield? Will you try and have Lowell build up a Blade really quickly? You need a Nano Blade as a great stun goes for Radius Boss.
And while they keep trying this, time is being wasted away. They have a minute and 40 seconds now to try to get the second point, and right now Meridian Tech is just cycling through these ults. The whole we were talking about from Big Groupies to push everybody from Fire Island off. They're splitting up. Can Lo get out of here though? He's got the deflect, but he's quite literally the epitome of one. He does no safety of his supports. He gets taken out, but we're getting some really good. Two goes down with the Nano Boost, but another Deadeye finding Lucky 2 this time. Burning is consistent on getting these picks, not only with the Deadeye, he's taken out Delirious, he's taken out Radius, he got a 3K in that fight alone.
And Sweatpants used the Nano on Radius Boss as sort of like a last-ditch effort. So once again, I don't think we're going to get a Nano Blade unless Fire Islands win a fight without it. I don't think we'll get one at all on this map for the Fire Islands. When you draft it, when you pick a Nano Blade comp, to get 0 on both attack and defense combined is very concerning for me. So Lowell, he's going to need a miracle solo Blade here if they want to win this next fight, because that's about all they really have in the arsenal. Meanwhile, you're looking for a Nano, Eternal Flame's easily going to have a Shatter, you have a Pulse Bomb as well. Lowell's got to make a crazy hero play here.
Especially since it takes some time to build up too. You see Lowell's about to get another Blade here, but Sweatpants doesn't have that Nano Boost. He's going to be able to move in with that Blade in junction to the shatter from Eternal Flame, though, as he gets taken out immediately after letting it loose. Fire Island's unfazed after that. They clean up the team, and Meridian Tech now have to reform in that third point as Fire Islands finally managed to get the second point with less than 10 seconds on the clock.
And Lowell knew what he had to do. I don't even think that the check mark lit up. As soon as it was available, he smashed Q to have the blade available to look for a pick, and he almost died to the concuss there for burning. And speaking of ults that have had high value, the Deadeye for burning has been phenomenal, Vicky. We'll see another double kill with it, because that has been turning 5%. He kills the support line almost every time.
And that's what I was worried about too. Burning was right next to Soup as Low was trying to isolate Soup, and while Burning is on this high ground, that Deadeye is probably going to be lethal since he's been so consistent with it already. And look at Soup being enabled by Burning, taking care of Illusion now, taking care of Radius Boss. We saw some of these adjustments and see some of these comp switches from Fire Islands for this third point, because it gives them a lot more mobility and to these high ground places. But you can see how Meridian Tech is denying that space just by being there, just by resing Burning now onto that high ground, and still staying in that same spot.
See Fire Islands hanging close to this line of sight spot. I think they're trying to bait out a Deadeye from Burning. It has had so much value, as you said. The verticality, if he can get up to the high ground here on this third point, which we're seeing him running over to right now. I'm assuming he turns his corner, because Fire Islands started the fight without him.
That was huge, huge D.Va bomb right there, taking care of Jaybirds, who's been isolated, but they trade that 2 for 2 as Low goes down. Won't be able to have the play, won't be able to build into that, so the Nano Boost is not going to be going on to him, trying to keep Radius Boss alive here. As Illusion now still gets taken out. Burning's been so on top of the DPS setup of Fire Island, denying that ability to move around, being on that Cassidy. Now Radius Boss wants to find the opportunity, but they can't get off the points. He gets melted after that shatter from Eternal Flame. Meridian Tech may have just fully held back Fire Island for the second map.
Gotta try and stay alive without Radius Boss. They have a Meteor Strike and a rally, but Delirious dies immediately.
Yeah, T2 on top of that Eternal Flame. He was swinging, but he's got that support. He couldn't get healed up that anti, and now Lowell can come in swinging with that Dragon Blade. See him trying his best to clear out the points, and so close to being completely wiped out after that shatter from Eternal Flame. Look how they're feeling themselves. This is the momentum that they need. But Meridian Tech, they're going to be rolling out with another set of shatter. They're going to be able to have big boopers to build up that whole hog, which should send everybody off that payload.
Last fight here. There's not any ults up. Sweatpants is the closest to the Nano. We'll see if Eternal Flame. Can you get a shatter in time?
Oh, he won't be able to get it. He goes down. Low now also gets Jaybirds here. It's looking so close. Fire Islands finally got that momentum on their side. Nice big anti to deny the whole hog on top of that all. Burning can't do everything alone as the sole survivor here can't even contest. And even with limited time, Fire Islands, they pass to a round 3.
Score.
My mind is blown that you pick a Nano Blade, you land absolutely 0 Nano Blade just because Lowell kept feeling the pressure that he had solo blade, and you somehow get to overtime. I'm very curious if Fire Island's going to keep pulling this comp, because eventually this Genji Blade will just whiff without the support from the Nano. I don't know if I like the fact that the Fire Islands are going to keep playing, no pun intended, with this Nano Blade that never has come together.
Such a good point too. We don't really see it often, but isolated Lowell has been able to get so much value off of the blade themselves that the deniability here onto the back line of Meridian Tech has been amazing. Now imagine combining that with the Nano Boost. Lowell's like, you know, I don't need it. I can do it myself out here. So maybe we're going to see a swap up from Lowell, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Maybe we're going to have to see, depending on the support lineup that we're also going to be able to see from Fire Island.
I'm curious if Lowell just kind of said, look, I can make these plays happen, pick something that complements Illusion now so that we have the Pharmacy instead of running the Ana, who got good nanos. They weren't bad nanos by Delirious and Sweatpants. They just were never onto Lowell. So it looks like Lowell's going to say, I can pull this off without a nano, pick supports to complement the rest of the comp. It's a very interesting call for the Fire Islands in overtime with only 60 seconds on the clock.
Meridian Tech, though, are running with momentum. They have much more time in their time bank right now. See the way that they're taking this position on the high ground. They see they can boot them all up. Meridian Tech are playing so close together that Burning will deny here if he tries.
They already lose Radius. Running out of time. Remember, Meridian has 2.5 minutes. Sweatpants goes down. I don't even think Lowell's going to get a blade off in time.
With Radius Boss being the first one to go down and Sweatpants following through, Fire Islands are dropping like flies. That's 3 members making their way back from the spawn with Lowell meeting them too. Tech, they understand the situation. They know that Fire Islands has a much limited time bank to them. So if they fully hold them right here, I'm worried here for Fire Islands who's going to have to hold on to that defense.
Oh, pick onto Eternal Flame. Just the last chance for Fire Islands. Illusion now. That's going to die.
Oh, but they get the res right here. Burning Bunny. See, I'm just waiting with the dead eye, trying to go for 2 kill here. See the coalescence now. Jaybirds to keep everybody restabilized from Meridian. How are they going to be able to do this right here as Fire Islands won't be able to touch the point? Overtime taken away. This coalescence finding everybody, burning them out of the skies. The team wipe as Fire Islands now are going to be playing complete disadvantage with Meridian Tech having a 2-minute and 34-second time bank.
To 3. Switching sides.
It's a phenomenal hold as well, and it really just came down to it. Unfortunately, Fire Islands, I think, put too much confidence in a fluke. I mean, yes, Lowell was fantastic, and I don't want to take away from his play on the attacking side of things with the solo blades, but to basically get rid of the Ana entirely meant that Genji could never get going, and unfortunately, Fire Islands, really the first team to not have success with the pharmacy. Illusion now, I don't think, got a single kill and barely got the rocket barrage off as they died. I think Fire Islands put a little bit too much Genji kind of solo carrying them like it had done previously, and now they're in a very, very tough spot. They completely change up their comp. They get away from the Genji, they get away from the pharmacy, and we'll see now that Soup might have some more free reign if he's able to absolutely pop off on this Widowmaker.
It's really true here to see how Burning has really been the MVP in denying Lowell the ability to pop off on that Genji, just denying that with the stun so Meridian Tech could be able to play very close together and get much more value composition. But look at the way that Fire Island is stationed out right now. This is very risky because if they lose this fight, Meridian Tech are going to free reign over pushing this payload with nobody to stop them.
Ooh, they caught out Eternal Flame, but that's the worst target because she can just...
Oh no, but we see Fire Islands, they're winning this trade. This is not going to work out for Meridian Tech though, but their spawn point is right there. They have the spawn advantage to reset.
Radius boss point a lot better. Sweatpants, the best one to go down, has the speed boost to get back, but as you said, Vicky, this is in fun. You have to do this 4 or 5 more times, not just once. And I'm curious how Meridian Tech wants to break it. It's probably with Eternal Flame baiting out cooldowns so they immediately lose their match.
With Doomfist though, for Illusion, now you can see the amount of damage output onto Eternal Flame after getting Demek, but this is what I was worried about. Meridian Tech now have won the trade, and there's nobody to stop them from Fire Islands, from where this payload needs to go. They needed to hold a little bit more back, but they got overzealous. They got ahead of themselves when they won that first trade, and like we said before, the spawn point was right there, and there is nobody to contest from Fire Islands.
Fire Islands, they didn't even bring out the Wrecking Ball. They got members close, but they both go down, and Meridian Technical will tie up our series. We'll go to a map number 3 here, Vicky. Again, final game of the group stage here for our Week 3 Esports Tower Overwatch Rumble. We have our grand finals coming up after this. It will be the Everest, and then now we have a 1-game scenario. If Meridian Tech can pull off the win on Kings Row, they get to advance. If Fire Islands can come back after that disappointing loss on Junkertown, it will be the Monsoons who will advance on a tiebreaker on Kings Row. This is going to be very, very tough because Meridian Tech kind of dominated. I mean, I think it was sort of a fluke that game even got to overtime in the first place because they shut down the Nanoblade comp. They just ran into Lowell, who is a buzzsaw on Genji in particular.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to approach Kings Row because Kings Row does provide that verticality to allow Meridian Tech to pop off on those hit scan characters that they love to play. But Fire Islands, if they get their footing here for that nano boost composition, that's going to allow them a lot, especially when it comes to resetting for the Genji on those walls through that alleyway that you usually get through after you get the payload moving on Kings Row. I love this map in particular too, so I think it's going to really benefit Meridian Tech, but depending on Fire Island moves away from Junkertown and how they can adjust, may prove very great for them.
Well, here we go. Let's kick it game number 3. Fire Island and Meridian Tech. Remember, Meridian Tech just has to win. They can smell the grand finals. They can taste a rematch against the Everests. Fire Islands, they're just playing to help out little brother, help out the Monsoons. And Lowell not going to go with the Genji. I think the Hanzo is the great choice here. I think he clearly has shown that he can play heroes that can take over games, and Hanzo needs way less support than the Genji. We'll see if Lowell and Burning once again have the rematch, because as you pointed out, Vicky, Burning was the one denying Lowell on the Genji, and he immediately denies Illusion now as well.
Oh my goodness, the game just started, and Burning has no choice but to fully send it. And even with the quick swap of 2 after getting that pick, Illusion now is going to have to bank from behind as Fire Island starts this 5-man army trying to attack Meridian Tech. But look at the retaliation as Lowell on this Hanzo.
Has had his rounds, putting him on a Reinhardt's a very scary proposition because he has died first a lot. And if your Reinhardt dies first, winning a fight is almost impossible. So I want to see how Radius Boss can stay alive on this Reinhardt. He couldn't do it on the Roadhog. Can he do a better job here?
But see, I like the way he's disengaging right here. He's just allowing Lucky2 to take full reins, be able to build up that damage with that bubble. It's going to be important to control this close quarter space. And that Neptune, great news for Fire Islands. Reset, but they lose Sweatpants in the process. As I say that, they trade, and now Illusion now goes down. It's just a 4-man army here for Fire Islands.
Great flank from Burning. We have seen backline flanks pay out so well. Burning even picks up a kill on Lowell on the way out. Radius Boss is close to the Shatter though, and that's about the only chance they have to win this fight. He's down!
So the Deadeye not going to find anybody here but the Coalescence from Delirious to at least keep everybody up alive, but big anti is prevent that from happening. Delirious fades away to anti to get away from Burning, but Meridian Tech have already controlled the space here to get this payload out of the garage.
And Lowell kind of sent a YOLO Dragon. I think he thought maybe he aimed it perfectly. He was right on top of the point for the payload. Thought maybe he could get a couple picks to save his team, but now they don't have that. Illusion now is going to swap over to the Pharah, going into Soup on the Cassidy. Don't know if that is a great call, but again, Boss with the Shatter, there's not a lot of great ways to stop it if you're Meridian Tech besides using the barrier from the Sigma. So how can Radius Boss position himself with the Shatter to maybe get a huge 4 or 5-man ult to win this for the Fire Islands, who just right now are retreating and retreating?
You see here with Meridian Tech having the Coalesce, they have 4 ults. They're about to have 5 with Burning and that Meteor Strike. But Fire Islands, they're hugging this corner amazingly. You can see Radius Boss looking for the Shatter, and he lands 5 right here, 4 rather, as the Coalesce from Jamers tries to restabilize everybody. But it may be too late right now, Fish, as Fire Islands have all the space to move up.
Radius Boss holds the key to this game for Fire Islands. Unless Meridian Tech is going to swap, there's not a great way for them to stop the Shatter. He just positions it perfectly. Can they punish Radius Boss? Will become the question. How fast can he build Shatters? But again, now you see, you've got the Dragons up here for Lowell, who can already carry. Meridian Tech has the ult advantage, though. I think it's going to come down to Swiffer. Can he land a big grab on the back line? But they have the answer. They have the Coalescence. They have the sound barrier as well.
And with these Dragons, they're actually forcing Meridian Tech to funnel out of that hallway to move up. See the creation landing his mark as Grange wants to use that Gravitic Flux, force them to trickle right into the line of sight into Burning here. See the Nano Boost as well, and the Rocket Barrage with the Hook Illusion now. How does he get away? This is the verticality that we were talking about this area of the map in particular, enabling a lot of Fire Islands units here, but currently with Delirious out, that Coalescence can't help restabilize Fire Islands.
Now, can they get a blade pressure? And I will say Lowell was so great with the blade, but his Dragon Strikes they've been great zoning ults, as you pointed out. They can lose the oomph that I think Fire Islands are going to need in these fights to win because they absorb everything. They backup damage as Coalescence comes out here.
Coalescence to help put in a lot of that pressure. The Deadeye too from Soup to control that space. They need to respect that. Fire Islands though, they're trying around the table. I like the way that they're sandwiching Meridian Tech. These companies need to do something about Soup, but these Diva Matrix from Lucky2 has been able to help out so much for the rest of Fire Islands. When they lose Illusion, now we quickly swap over to the Tracer. Now the Dragons to also try to create that space here, but Soup needs to be stopped. We saw what happened with Soup just last week, and he is a player that you want to keep your eyes on.
Oh, they get Nano onto Big Boofus has been so clutch for the team. Got the whole hog if he wants to rip it. I love that Meridian Tech is letting their shine, as you said, with Soup and Big Boofus.
The Coalescence is more for Jaybirds as Fire, they're about to get another round of Coalescence from Delirious. About to get that second point. They already do so. And look at the amount of space that they're controlling up ahead here. It's just fully sending it onto Fire Islands, who just need to restabilize. They lost Radius Bus, but when he comes back, he will have that shatter.
And it feels like ever since they unlocked the payload, Meridian Tech has had the ult advantage. They still have it here. It's only a shatter up for Radius Boss. He has the ability to land big ones. Now they have the Coalescence. What can they do going into 3 ults for Meridian Tech, including another Deadeye for Soup, who's been so good with this?
And he's playing up on the back line too. You can currently see the way that Lucky Chu try to isolate Soup with the Diva Matrix. Says we have to do something about this Deadeye, but Lucky just sacrifices themselves in the process. Well worth as Fire could actually move up though after that Deadeye was denied, and it forces Meridian Tech to actually respect the base that Fire Islands has been able to build up. But big anti after that pool, Radiance Pulse gets denied, and that means they won't have the shatter.
And they wasted the Dragon Strike trying to save him as well. They lost basically 2 ults in that fight. Now Sweatpants goes down. Someone stop Big Boofus. These hooks cannot miss at this point.
Absolutely insane the way that Soup is playing, has continued to play. Just the fact that he's being so consistent as a player here. You see the Biotic Orb taking Fem Neptune. You see now the Sound Barrier from Fire Islands, but Lucky Chu with a big Diva Bomb denies 2 members of Meridian Tech, sending them right back to the spawn. Look how close they were to getting this payload to the finish line. And now with only a minute and less than 35 seconds, Meridian Tech need to come up with something new.
Good thing for Meridian Tech is they have enough time to try and take a dry fight, force out the Shatter, force out the Deadeye from Illusion now, and then you can come back with foreseeably 4 ults with King's Burning and Big Boofus. If they take a fight now, they can bait out the Shatter. I think that's what they need to do. I think if they take one last fight, there's going to be too many ults up for both teams. They need to bait a dry fight, boss, and bait out a Shatter.
To see the way that Fire Islands also cycles through their ults, because currently Meridian Tech, like you said, they're approaching almost all their ults minus that Coalescence that charges up like a 3rd ability here. The Deadeye from Soup is on board. It's been lethal so far, and Radius Boss is lose that shield. Oh, but with the Shatter, he drops down the shield right on time, but they do not find Soup in the process of that Shatter. So he still finds Illusion now, but the trade is in favor for Fire Islands.
Fire Islands is going to have the Coalescence and probably nothing else, and they just ripped the Coalescence and nothing.
Oh, okay. Getting ahead of
no
themselves.
ults.
Gonna win this, maybe Fish. That was a little over ahead of themselves, but because of that, they're able to sustain the tanks that just get hit with this anti, that lets you just get demech. But with Illusion now playing out of the backline, they do have that turret that finds Fem Neptune, so they won't have that nano boost and they won't have that meteor strike from Burning.
Here's the Meteor Strike that you're talking about. Maybe Lowell gets a Riptide, but he gets taken out by Soup. But they're just running out of time, and the respawn's Fire Islands here. Tech needs a team wipe.
There was a switch between Sweatpants. He takes out Soup, he poops him off, and you currently see that Lowell is going to be able to move in with that Junkrat, with that Riptide, but the Diva Bomb finding King's future because they won't have that deployable barrier. They only have Big Boofus, so that means they don't have a shield. Now this Riptide is going to clear out the points, and even though Lowell gets taken down, Burning can't get rid of the bomb that comes down after taking care of Lowell.
Sound Barrier from Sweatpants just wins it. Fire Islands with the great hold. I know you and I, as soon as that Coalescence, we'll call it a fat finger from Delirious, which happened to the best of us. We're like, uh-oh, that's not looking good, but they just had so much pressure. I mean, we had a great view of it. That Torbjorn turret distracted the Sigma for way longer than it should have. King Swiffer, I think, attacked the Torbjorn turret more than he attacked anyone else in those last few fights.
It was also funny because you saw that Sweatpants was having a skirmish with not just Soup, but also Burning. So that's taking away the DPS attention that Meridian Tech really needed to take full capitalization over the fact that Fire Islands had used up that Coalescence to sustain the tanks. So because that Coalescence was in the fight, it was all okay. Because you had Sweatpants take out the attention from both Soup and Burning.
Ready for battle.
It's up to the Fire Islands. If they can push the cart to the parking spot, the Monsoons will advance to the grand finals coming up next. If Meridian Tech can hold, they'll get another shot at the Everest in those grand finals. The Fire Islands really 12 players playing right now for the Mickey. They have the 6 on the field, and they have the 6 in the Monsoons that are cheering them on the sidelines, hoping for their first ever Grand Finals appearance. I'm curious what the Fire Islands want to do. They really haven't had a solid comp, but they just have had solid players out playing Meridian Tech, who I think has had the better comp decisions. They just haven't been able to put it together.
I have to see if they could try to figure something out here. It's going to be absolutely lethal here with Fire Islands being able to hold back Meridian Tech. They just got to get that payload to the finish line. They're going to take Ilio. Game number 1. They're going to allow their big bros Monsoons to come in, face off against Everest, or is Tech going to be able to kind of flip the tables here and hold back Fire Island for this first point?
Lol on the Genji. I love to see it. Will him and Sweatpants finally be on the same page? That's the question, because they never could sync up on Junkertown. Plus, they have basically 2 DPS that require full support from their support. So look at you and Radius Boss have to be very careful. They might not get assistance from the Ana and the Mercy because they're pocketing their DPS.
Meridian Tech are also running that double shield composition with Big Goofus being on that Ryan. You see Kings on that Sigma, but look at the damage output with Low being on this Genji. It's working out for them. We talk about that verticality. Now they have to look not only on their flanks for Lol, but they have to look for Illusion now, and the Skies is getting pocketed by Delirious. And meanwhile, Luju has been such a high player for Fire Islands this map.
And I respect the confidence, because this is a very similar comp that the Fire Islands pulled out on Junkertown in overtime, and it looked very, very rough. Of course, they did add the Ana in to give that support to Lol, but now, Illusion, now you have the Rocket Barrage. Soup, who's been so good at countering Faras this week and last week. Can you shut it down? Burning's going to go over to Soldier, so once again, the Pharah has her worst nightmare. Will Illusion now still be able to pop off is the question going into Cat this week, and
you already know what Illusion wants. You saw the Rocket Barrage beaming in Illusion Now's eyes, but decided to just disengage, wants to get a better position, knows that it's time, as Meridian Tech also know that the Rocket Barrage is online, that they need to look for their backs, but no looking to the guys, as you see Illusion Now taking off angle position, the shield not protecting the rest of the team. It's found Burning, the one counter pick to deny Illusion Now. The Deadeye does claim Illusion Now, and luckily for Soup, he does get to live right through that attempt from Illusion.
They burn the nano onto Soup to stay alive as they lose supports.
Oh, off of that Diva Bomb, we were highlighting Lucky 2 for a reason. Still survives in the mech after that Diva Bomb 2. Takes care of the support lineup from Meridian Tech. That's going to be the green light for Fire Island to fully send it, because there's no sustainability left for Meridian Tech.
And if Fire Islands can cap here, they finally have the combo victory. They have the Nano Blade line at the same time. They have the Valve for the support. Who needs a Nano at this point? Lol can just pop. Here we go.
Better late than never. Now we get to see the highlight of Fire Island's composition. You see Lol fully sending and tearing through the lineup of Meridian Tech, tearing through Soup, and they have 3 ultimates online to hold back Fire Island for this next corner.
So far ahead of payload that it will give Meridian Tech a chance for an answer. They're going to have the Shattered, they're going to have the Gravitic Flux with King Swiffer, they probably should have the Tac Visor as well. Meridian Technical, if they space their ults out, can turn one fight lane into 2 or 3. They just have to be careful.
I feel though from Radius Boss is going to be able to buy Fire Island even more space though that they've been able to build up for themselves. They have to look out for this Tac Visor from the high ground and from Burning, but again, we highlighted the amount of ults that Meridian Tech have. They just need to utilize that as Soup goes down. The res onto Radius Boss to get them right back in the fight, but they're playing at a disadvantage with only the Valkyrie Delirious to keep everybody from Fire Island alive.
Big Goofus, when will you shatter is the question. They've heard the coalescence as well. I think Fire Islands can just retreat. Happy that they took away a couple of ults, though. There's still 3 left on the table. That is great ult management, but look at the time. 4:15 on the clock for the Fire Islands. They can go through so many fights. They can probably wait till another Nano Blade comes out and really pick and choose when they want to win this last crucial fight.
Yeah, they can stay station, set up a pick, maybe go camping a little bit, because Fire Islands are going to take their time to build up these ults. Look at Lolo with the deflect on the Deadeye. What a statement on the Soup, sending him back to the Shadow Realm. But look at the rest of Meridian Tech. They weren't wasting through all of their ults. They're saving them because they know what they want right here. And now to be able to deny that and still win the trade is amazing news for Meridian Tech.
Running out of ultimates. They have the Tac Visor back up, so they've cycled them well. Still have the Gravitic Flux from King Nothing else is open. As you said, the Coalescence is going to build up fast. Here's another Diva Bomb, and it doesn't quite get anything.
As that Immortality Field was used up to save Meridian Tech here. They still got that boost. They got the Blade ready. Get ready. 2 for 2 right out of the gates. They find Burning again, but they don't find anybody else. As you can see the way that Big Lupus was able to isolate Lulz here. Meridian Tech only losing those 2 members, though Fire Islands are playing this extremely passively as they're forced to disengage here.
Crazy thing is, we still have 3 minutes on the clock for Fire Islands. They still have 4 or 5 fights left in it, so this might be their best chance. Coalescence is up. Nothing else is close. Deadeye might come up depending on how much damage Soup can do. You've got Minefield. You've got the Valve to keep everyone alive. Illusion now, if he's able to land a couple of headshots, is going to have the Dragons up as well. This is the fight Fire Islands can win. They have a huge ult advantage, and they take advantage of that fact.
Hey, now that ult advantage, they have to be able to utilize that. The Minefield and the Dragons, they essentially just sandwich Meridian Tech with those 2 ults right there. Amazing follow-up after that from Radius plus the Deadeye from Soup. Although it's found Lulz, that's only 1 member from Fire Islands, now making 2 from Lucky Chi going down. The res, nobody from Meridian Tech alive to even contest. And currently, Fire Island, they're your winners in this series versus Meridian Tech.
Fire Islands winning, that means it's the Monsoons and only their 3rd ever Rumble. Again, this team just started competing the 2nd week of January. They are in the grand finals, but they have to play. Already won. We'll see if they can win one more time. A reminder, only scoring in solo queue won't do. The best way to get scouted is to get seen, rank up, gain connections. Join esportstower.com today. No other amateur club does more to get you ready to go pro. A great win by the Fire Islands. Would have loved to have seen them turn that into something in the grand finals, but it is a half-score tiebreaker, Vicky, that advances the Monsoons in their first ever appearance, which you feel for them. And then you look at the side, and it is the veterans, Everest. They are just waiting to be back-to-back-to-back champs. And that is a tough ask for the Monsoons to try and take down Goliath like that.
Yeah, Monsoons have been on another level. This team that I could definitely say could contest Everest, and that would be such Monsoons to reap rewards of their hard work.
When we come back, it'll be our final match of once again take control. Esports Tower Overwatch Rumbles. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it's our grand wrap up week 3. Right.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple. Always buckle up. See.
Welcome back into this broadcast of the Esports Tower. Our two Everest grand finals. We'll see what they take on the here with a chance to go back to back to back while the Monsoons, making their first ever grand final appearance, are looking for the upset of a strong team. Of course, I am your host, Michael Fisher, and joining me to call all of the action, my co-caster today has been Vicky Kitty.
Welcome to Esports Tower, your Esports Tower Club. Let me explain how it works. If you want your gaming ability and get connected to the industry, sign up for one of our Esports Tower clubs, tower.com. So Rocket League, Overwatch, and more. And once you're registered, you'll be quickly placed on a team that competes in a division based on your current rank in the game. Teams will attend versus on the Esports Tower Discord twice weekly and tournament combines. Coaches will run practice sessions following the Esports Tower approach, host VOD reviews, scrimmages, and skill training, and more. Periodically, your team will be playing against other teams in your division to apply what you've learned in practice. Your progression. Throughout the year, our club members gain access to exclusive events and workshops with esports influencers, college scouts. So top Esports Tower Club teams compete in events streamed on esports television, Twitch, and YouTube. No other amateur club does more to advance your to get considered, plus connecting to college and career opportunities. So what are you waiting for, guys? Head over to esportstower.com and let's get started so that you guys could be seeing these pros that we're seeing tonight.
I think it goes to show how much work these Esports Tower teams put in. Vicky had some great teams like Meridian, like College joining us, but at the end of the day, it's the Esports Tower Everest taking on the Esports Tower Monsters, the most ready to go, and we will see, again, best of 5 grand finals. Curious if that changes. Going out, it was curious. Monsoons, Meridian ended up with the same record, but it was the Monsoons advancing to the grand on a map score tiebreaker to be able to square off against the Everest in our grand finals. It is a best of 5. It's going to be very, very tough because the Everest are so dang talented. And before we hop into our grand finals, Vicky, I think it's only fair docs keys to by the Esports Tower. Score advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your under pressure. You'll get matched up with dang ready for everything, and tempo is key. You've got to know when to call those fights. You've got to know when to take those ults. But man, the Everest just seem ready. And again, the one downside for the Monsoons is, yes, they're a newer team. This is still their 3rd straight Rumble. The Everest have seen them before. This will be ready. They're going to have to come out with
Seen it or first, so that's Everest have been some different compositions. I'm excited to see what, especially consistent team so far in the Esports Tower Rumble.
Let's kick it off. Let's jump to Busan for our finals. Remember, it is a 5, so we do get. We'll see if the Monsoons can get us to where the Everest on themselves. We hop in. There's ever Rumble. This team hasn't even been together for 2 months, and they're already in the grand final. Can they reach the summit, or will the Everest just kick them back down and go back to back as we find out here?
So much potential for this team. I'm so excited to see what they do against a team like Everest, a team that we saw dominating just last week. We're going to see a repetition of that potentially as Monsoons are going to be the contenders here within this grand finals. It is best of 5 though, so this does allow much more flexibility in terms of adaptation to Monsoons.
And all eyes are probably going to be on Holy Chubb and Fulcrum. They're the lifeblood of this Monsoons. Holy Chubb's the squad. This time on that May can easily wreak havoc on a backline to kick off our first play.
See Anarchy though getting frozen in their boots. Panda Squad on this way. We saw Panda Squad did last week with the Hanzo, now being on the so much of that after building up that blizzard. They lose Diamond Dog, they lose their tank, only really relying on this funny D-Mac at the moment for that sustainability, for that space building that they can build in. So now the point's going to go in favor for Monsoon first.
Panda is just absolutely insane. Got the threes without the blizzard. Didn't result in the kill, but value now the C-Squared had to blow this Ant Matrix and just gets respected by. Where does this blizzard go for Panda Squad? It could rip apart the Monsoons, but they actually get taken out.
Yeah, Fulcrum has not having it anymore. They want that revenge. They want to get that fire strike, and now with the shatter from Diamond Dog moving in, though, Monsoons are still finding C-Squared now being able to find two off of Everest. Everest has not been able to turn the tides on this point just yet, but it's just the beginning here as Monsoons rounding.
Fulcrum's got a chance to answer what Diamond Dog just did with their shatter coming. Anarchy's going to have the blizzard as well, so we kind of get a battle. Who gets...
Love that, the wall into the deny any entry space for Everest to move in from. That catches Diamond God off guard, but now you really have 4 ults that you have to worry about. Judge moving in with the play, the nano boost as well from not to keep the members of Everest alive. Holy Chubb does find 2 in the process, so they trade that for 2 for 2. Still is trying to control this up after having the defensive shift back in his side as well as some of that momentum.
They do give up 73% for the Everest, so maybe the Monsoons have figured something out, but a great attack there. Anarchy goes. They couldn't survive that entire fight, but PDQ was the first target. Ended up dying twice in that fight. They have the sound barrier, they have the shatter, but Luminescence has this sound barrier as well. Which team can burn through the sound barrier first? Is Fulcrum's gonna get caught on the wrong side.
Oh, but he gets frozen out of it. He had no other choice in the instant, but he makes a huge play after that shatter, after he gets frozen. Meanwhile, his backlines themselves up to that blizzard. It freezes up 3 members. At least trying to hold them back to buy some time for Everest, and it's just like you were saying, Monsoon's already at 73% and climbing, and right now they have the advantage versus a team like Everest.
They have to blow basically everything, just Anarchy with the blizzard. That's I want to see the Everest. They have to take a fight. They have the sound barrier. They have a huge advantage right now as long as they can fight. I think Everest can do this. If they get a great stick on the shadow, now they have to go.
I'm in danger. Panda Squad's on the Widow, claiming heads, and he's still going. He finds all 3, and with the sound barrier, this is going to be the nail in the coffin for Everest to turn this table, to turn the point, actually claim it here as Monsoon's at 99%, and can they even reclaim the point again? Everest have now made their adjustment.
With Panda Squad on the Widowmaker? No, I feel like that. I feel confident in that answer, Vicky, and it's something easier. Panda Squad just headshots this for a millisecond line of sight. Monsoon, a couple of calls. Can Shadows flank maybe Anarchy on the Tracer? Split up right now.
The Anarchy gets taken down again now by Panda Squad. That's going to be another headshot in their favor. Not Doofus does have that Ant Matrix as well, so that's going to be even more space and time bought in for Everest. And they're going to use it in the window. You see the dive in with Judge and the but he gets taken out immediately just as quickly as he died.
Diamond Dog bit off more than they can chew, and they had the shatter now. Great dragon here from Shadow Soul, and the Monsoons are pushing forward as long as they survive that, but they lose both support.
I think that they don't have any survivability, no sustainability here from Monsoon. Only those health packs, which aren't going to do much against a threat that is Panda Squad. You see him play some heads with the ult that he's got ready, that he just utilized. Everest having the number advantage, they're not going to be able to flip this point. What's 99% for Monsoons have now slipped right through their hands, as Everest is going to be able to clear this point.
I think they're going to run out of members, too. I mean, I don't know what you could do. You have double shields. You're running like a Tracer Hanzo who are going to try and line of sight as much as possible. And Panda Squad still just finds ways to headshot you. I don't know what to tell you. When your Tracer's being shot charging at Panda Squad, there's really no answer you have.
So it's unfortunate because Panda Squad just cannot be contested with the composition Monsoons was running at the end. So this quick adaptation Everest had with Panda Squads going off of the Mei, getting onto the Widow so that way they can have better sight lines was crucial for that transaction because they were at 33% right before Panda the Widow. Now, as we move on to round number 2, they still have those sightlines available to them if Panda Squad plays off of the back. But like you said, when your Tracer's shot and trying to go for a flank, you can't really do much about Panda Squad because that was your answer right now. Soon, they're going for a different approach. Shadow, he's on the Reaper and on the Cassidy. Gonna see if they can try to get something rolling here with Judge still also running amok, tearing through these front lines with a blade.
I'm concerned that Shadow Soul and Anarch is going to be too stationary to get to Panda Squad, though they do let the Monsoons cap first. We have Panda Squad show up in the kill feed yet. I assume it's only a matter of time, and there it is.
And they find Anarchy in the goes Judge with the follow-up. That's going to be one support down from Monsoons. Panda Squad have now been denied as Judge is also covering Panda Squad. Time that Monsoon's trying to spend attention away from Everest.
This might be your best answer comp if you're the Monsoons. You try out the Tracer again. Anarchy only had a couple attempts on their first map on Busan. Got headshot once. And no challenge from Shadow Soul. Gonna bring out their own Widowmaker. You better not miss your first shot because Panda Squad will punish you. But meanwhile, they're gonna try and take a fight without Panda Squad in the line of sight.
Look how confident that Everest is playing this now with Diamond Dog just rolling right into their front line, trying to go into their flank. Getting top of that, you currently see Not Doom just having the time of their life. Old charges.
I think they won that 5v6. I think Panda Squad was trying to look for an angle and never found one. And I like what the Monsoons did. They tried to have a comp to counter, but they also had an idea to maybe try and
Do they not? Oh, there's no way. There's no. Oh, not like this fish. Not like having the time of their life. You fun. Now just letting everybody else. So used to seeing even last week.
Yeah, this is exactly what they do. They just dominate you on every pick. They make you uncomfortable. They're gonna try the Shadow Soul because he got on by Judge. Here's the blade though.
Coming right. Oh, he finally slices and dices onto Holy Chub, who can't get back into the mech, but even this and the Ante and Judge is somehow still alive. They finally take care of him, but look at all the time and attention that was taken away from Monsoons just for Everest to push into those spawn points.
And, oh man, I mean, they tried everything to catch. They played 6 different deaths to try and find a way onto Panda Squad, and nothing. Again, I love nothing against you, Shadow Soul. Personally, I just don't know if you can counter Panda Squad, but that's probably your best bet. We saw, like, try Reaper Cassidy. They got their heads up, and they couldn't blow Maker. Man, I mean, honestly, you've got to try. You've got doesn't have a sight line, which is so.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult, especially since our next map is gonna be moving on to Delta. We talk about that verticality, we talk about those angles that we could see players like Panda Squad take, but I also want to give a highlight to Judge and the way that Judge peeling for Panda Squad. That was so important because while Monsoons really did want to funnel their attention onto Panda Squad, Judge was making it even more difficult for them to isolate him as a player because Monsoons had to focus not just Panda Squad, but Judge as well with the blade to constantly put in that pressure onto the front lines of Monsoons.
Panda Squad back on the Widowmaker. We might do the entire Overwatch hero lineup for DPS for the Monsoons because now we're going to try 2 new ones. The Torbjorn, which the turrets can be a bit of a nuisance. Panda Squad. They're also going to try the... I don't know if that's the great pick. Teleporter for more mobility. But, oh man, they did not find an answer to one person for the Everest.
It's so difficult to deal with a strong team that is Everest. They started getting their footing a little bit though. Hopefully they can make that adaptation here as they round the corner here on Rialto. Everest though playing on the low ground. Monsoon have the not really into that hero pool to really capitalize off of that position. C-Squared is really up to deny that space away from Everest around that corner.
Just retreating further and further back. You see Panda Squad green take it to. Haven't seen him in the kill feed. They do take first. Haven't had as much of an impact.
The Polo now being brought in, being on the Hanjo instead. You have to now worry about not just Panda Squad clicking heads, but and they could play away. That is to say, if Everest could manage to wrap this corner right now, because Monsoon doing such a great job at those entry points, but you for a flanking opportunity. Oh, goodbye, Fulcrum.
Fulcrum, they were in such a good spot too. The health bars for the Everest were critical as Anarchy gets a great flank here onto Panda Squad. I don't know how long you're going to win this. Panda Squad running away for now. I'm just waiting for them to turn around and headshot somebody. Monsoons have been so much improved on Rialto. I don't see Panda on the kill feed yet.
Yeah, Panda Squad's just trying to this time. They finally get, even though Anarchy goes down, that's a lot of space bought in for Monsoon to help them stabilize here, because they're rounding the corner. They're now approaching that next choke point that's for a lot of these defenders to get out of the high ground. This Monsoon does not really get much here as Fulcrum goes down, and Everest are about to get a 6-man ultimates online with Panda Squad reaching.
6 ults is the scary part, but they have the answer. They have the ult from Shadow Soul, but it gets burned too early. But here comes the rally. I guess they maybe predicted the ults, but I think the Everest can hold on to everything else besides the rally and the infrared sight.
Yeah, they don't want to burn everything. Also holding back a little bit. They know that they have that sound barrier right there. BBQ, not too sure if it was just out of their line of sight, but that is not what you want for your sound. C-Squared held on to that Ant Matrix as well for that next fight, but thinking that the sound barrier was going to be enough, it was not, and now Evers are going to claim this point.
You nailed it perfectly. That's what I thought too. BBQ, you've got the sound barrier. He said only lands onto himself. Don't know what exactly happened, but that was a huge momentum killer for the Monsoons, because now the Everest get a time extension, building their ults up again. Anarchy does have the Molten Core, the first Monsoon ended up getting quite a few picks in. I like what the Monsoons are doing. I'm just curious how fast BBQ can get on their sound barriers.
The amount of attention that is required to hold back Apollo from taking onto this higher ground. You saw Anarchy claim him. He set up the turret on the high ground as well. He got the Molten Core. Great line of ults set up here for Monsoons. They also have the Ant Matrix here for C-Squared to control this next corner. How Luminescence is going to play into this Transcendence to deny the damage that's going to be coming out from both the Molten Core and the Ant Matrix.
Off for Pan. Finally gives up on the Widow. Going to go over to the Soldier. Keep your eyes on Judge. If he's able to get a backline minefield, that could disrupt everything. Here's the rally minefield.
Here comes a rally from not Doofus, and here comes well on top of that, but that means the Transcendence won't be there for the Holy Forbidding Flux, which is going to be here in the next line of ult. Use the whole back. The Molten Core does find Judge. That's a huge pick there. Judge won't be able to build those minefields. Chubb's just trying to hold back a bit, trying to deny them space with that Diva Bomb. But look at the way that they're disengaging, the way that they're calling these fights, forcing these ultimates out of Monsoon.
I think Chum got stuck on the box. You saw them try and launch a Diva Bomb launch, and it only moved about an inch. So I think the box might have got caught. Maybe the boosters were on cooldown, and that denial kind of forces everyone back. Essence goes down. Yeah, they just reset, and just a small mechanical play cost the Everest a huge fight there in a huge chunk of time.
Let's see how they approach this from the high. But that's really about it. They don't have the Matrix, they don't have the Transcendence to help make up that insurance. From looking behind, just in case they try to go over that wall. We've seen it done before. But here comes Dragons though, right out of the corner. Inbound Shadow Soul and BBQ. Pigs out from Monsoon. Now playing at a number disadvantage. They're forced to disengage. They're forced to give the space over to Everest.
I think they're forced to give the second point. Not only is picking anytime BBQ had sound barrier, but they're gonna send it.
The Mold on top of that. Fulcrum with the shatter to move in, but Anarchy with the move is going to find Luminescence. It looked like Everest were going to be able to have that free space, but thanks to Fulcrum and that shatter, he completely denies it.
Hey, just caught the Everest off guard. Much like the Everest, I was expecting, okay, you have to retreat. BBQ's not in range, but Fulcrum just hits the shatter. He gets BBQ be able to get there in time. Now we get an epic little duel with Panda Squad chasing down Anarchy, and Panda Squad, he might not be on a sniper, but he is still scary.
They were chasing down Panda Squad. They did not let him go away, but in that denied a lot of attention away from BBQ, and now those minefields that were getting set down had both C-Squared and Holy Chubb, so the Gravitic Flux would not be able to be used in that fight, and C-Squared essentially wasted that Ant Matrix since the rest of Monsoon.
Not fast enough to win fight after fight. It's only the Gravitic Flux for Holy Chubb. Everything else is pretty far away in one more fight, and Panda Squad, he finds these angles he even knows of, and now he's going to basically get the whole team.
They've been isolating Panda Squad a lot better now. You can see Anarchy chasing him down. They see him as a threat, but with Dragons from Apollo, it's going to split a lot here from Monsoon. Now, in essence, the Gravitic Floods sent everybody from Everest to that Molten Core 2 to try to combo that off of Anarchy, and Anarchy's turret has now found Luminescence. I like this gameplay that we're seeing from Monsoon. This turret from Anarchy is putting in so much additional pressure, and the Molten Core is getting them so much space. But with this Tac Visor, Panda Squad has now made a statement, has now invited himself to the party after coming back from the spawn.
And they cap it, and that's the thing. They shut down Panda Squad for almost that entire map, and then he pulls out a double kill with the Tac Visor he had been holding on to for a while, looking for flanks. And I will say Anarchy did a really good job of always tracking Panda Squad. I think that's something a lot of our other teams ran into issues. Never tracked Panda Squad. Anarchy did a phenomenal job of tracking him on this Torbjorn. It just felt at the end of the day, all Panda Squad had to do was make one play, and that's exactly what he did. And I will say, a great counter for Everest. They had everything ready. As you mentioned, they tried to grab or Gravitic Flux into Molten Core for the Monsoons. Luminescence just popped the Transcendence and healed everyone through that. The Everest always have the ult answer where the Monsoons are basically chasing that next ult. It comes up in time to keep a fight going.
And that's all trickles down to ult tracking. And Everest are very good at tracking answer back. So that's why they've been cycling through these ults in a manner where Luminescence now holds back a bit, waits for that Transcendence to utilize. It cannot get picked off. They don't have to worry about a Sombra on Monsoon's team, so they don't have to worry about being hacked or anything like that. So Luminescence could just play more behind Monsoons in that defense. Had Anarchy still on the tour, they had Shadow Soul out in the front. They knew that there was nobody that was going to take a flanking position to contest ever. So great hold on that Transcendence to make that game-winning play at the very end, and to help enable.
I'm curious how this will work for Panda Squad. I feel like taking him off of something like a win, we're leaving a bit more careless and because they can't get headshot. Though, of course, a huge EP for a player as talented as Panda Squad will change all of my thinking. But it really opens up this the Monsoon.
See how with this difference of composition from Panda Squad and seeing the Sombra, look at the follow-up already. No chance. Monsoons are just taking way too much damage right now, and Everest, they recognize the momentum change still drifting back in their favor. They know that they're winning this trade, and they're gonna have so much now to be able to control this payload.
Look at those ults for the Everest. I mean, the Nano almost already up. The E, you got to keep your eyes on how fast can Panda Squad build it. Can Panda Squad combo with the team? We've seen Sombras have issues with the team being ready, but right now the Everest seem like they are jumping at the opportunity when Panda Squad gets it. You can see him on the back of your screen.
See Luminescence too, getting it with the anti, but nobody to follow up. That's the difference. Some of these antis, but now Monsoon's get completely wiped out. Oh my! Now Everest, look at Panda Squad. He is so
Panda Squad be able to get an EMP. They do catch Pandas on the back line.
He's slowing up enough of that EMP here. He's got it online. He's got the 6-man EMP. We got the pile driver. We got a Polo with. What are you wasting? You only have a minute and 50 seconds to get your ready here, and Monsoon trickling out of spawn point.
For the Monsoons, if they can find a pick, they have a Deadeye. It's a great chance Anarchy's going to go on a huge flank here. He might sneak up on not Doomfist, depending on the angle. This could be the winning. He has to go soon now. There's already Nano Judge on the other side.
Taking too much time with that. He takes care of this. That's huge because they won't have the Transcendence now. They know that Anarchy's on their flank though. They get out of his line of sight, but a great follow-up on the Team X Chum here. See, Monsoons now are finally trying to take up the time as Anarchy went in for the flank, went in to sandwich the rest of the squad. But they're not falling as quickly as they may think as Panda Squad and Apollo. Members of Monsoons
Tracking the Everest, they have the trans. And the only thing up for the Monsoons, especially with these swaps, Anarchy gets killed off spawn. They don't even have an ult anymore. Critic Flux, that Transcendence can just be used whenever the Everest want in case they're scared. They have no ults, they have to counter the rest of the match unless the Monsoons.
Another EMP after just getting EMP. He gets taken care of. That is on the Winston. Gonna come back, get another EMP pick off of Monsoons. Gonna keep up that pressure, and with 15 seconds left, Monsoon have a lot of time to be able to dwell. Wonder where Panda Squad is gonna come from.
They might not even need Panda Squad. We get the POV. They're running back from spawn. They might not even need a
Too big, but overtime taking away. You cannot go anywhere. A sleep tracer is a dead tracer, including an EMP one. That's going to be Everest taking game number 2, dominating though on Rialto.
match point for the Everest. And this team's been here before. One, but you know, one for maybe Pencil. Rialto. It will be Murray, which again it has more sight. Proving he can play anything. Nuisance, so better team can sometimes snowball. A very quick attack map for the Everest potentially.
I'm thinking about how quickly they're going to try. Are they going to the Soul, the Hanzo, or the Widow by this composition? Who are we going to get? The other is a best of able to take last 2 maps as a way to just take it in and maybe figure out a game plan to contest Everest, because currently right now they are just on an assistant within the Esports Tower Rumble and they need to be dethroned.
Swap as a compliment. Was phenomenal. There's so many individually talented players for the Everest. It's going to be a very hard ask, but here we go. Game 3. If the Everest can win, they are back-to-back-to-back Rumble champions here in the winter. If the Monsoons win, they just one at it here. It'll be the Everest in the blue. It'll be the Monsoons in the red. So we'll swap sides and we'll see what exactly happens here. And Vicky, or will the Monsoons pull out America?
4, 3,
This will be difficult.
attackers.
They've just been on another. We're going to be able to see this monster. Something different rolling in. Currently see already the aggressive states of how we're seeing Everest start things off. Caught off guard by Monsoons, who were so aggressive to hold back a little bit. They're trying to look to speedrun this first.
Monsoons, as you said, this is a dream scenario for the Monsoon.
Let's go back a bit. Let's talk about that application that we just witnessed from Monsoons. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to a best of 5 Dio here. But look at Apollo setups. What? It's a 3K with Apollo Symmetra setup. here. And I was worried, but now we've seen this time and time again where Everest, they can hold and fully hold despite the time advantage that they got after that first point.
And they lose the ult in the game in your shatter on Fulcrum. Of course, second point Hanamura with the shatter can be a bit tricky because of all the high ground defenders have. And now picked off.
What I love is that we're seeing the between Panda Squad and Luminous following up after those Discord orders. Take note here, as that's going to be a lot of damage here from Everest put down onto Monsoons as they try to approach small points. And that graphitic flux, that's going to spell Christmas for Everest.
Yes, they choke point, but they know it all starts with Fulcrum on the shatter. He's
shatter fall from those symmetric turrets have just been so lethal right now in this composition.
Don't have anything up right now. They should have the sound barrier for BBQ, but you see, photon barriers up for Apollo. Judge is going to have the whole hull. All Grand are just chasing in terms of ults, and I don't think they'll ever be on the same page unless the Everest over-aggress and pop way too many ults in a fight.
Out those ult tracking we're seeing from Everest, they know currently what Monsoons has, but with Shadow Soul being on this Doomfist, it's going to give it a judge out of the competition, send him back to the spawn. Look at Panda Squad's position though. He's on the high ground. He's putting in so much pressure from them, and nobody's much other than energy on this Cassidy. He can try to force him off the high ground, which is exactly what he does, but look at this. While they were so fixated on Panda, now the Everest is going to be able to move up and clean up the rest of Monsoon.
And for that great first point, we're already 3%. They haven't got a single toe on point B. Even things out though. Monbear, they're going to have the Meteor Strike, and this is looking like an opportunity to get a pick. Have the ult advantage. They need to take a shot before.
Now that Square gets taken out, you can also see how much fun that Panda Squad and Luminous. A teleporter, even more fun. Throw out the confetti. Dragons, he fights EDQ, which means that he make it 3. Just keep every single one of fights.
We've talked so much in these last 2 weeks about adaptability. The Monsoons they're just running to the same spot. The choke corridor. I know it really complements their comp with the shatter, with gonna try the same small choke again, Vicky. The definition of insanity.
Have this composition where it really helps them take up the high ground, but they don't have a symmetric teleporter to get and force themselves on the Everest off of this high ground. They're just gonna get beamed on if they have Shadow Soul's not playing the edge. Maybe if they can isolate Luminescence was getting ahead of them. Way back there. Battle edge with the Transcendence. Right. Gets taken clean up as Monsters. They split their attention on Luminescence, and now there were too wary in front of them that they were backs.
And that's the crazy thing, right? That was such an odd play by Luminescence, but it worked because the whole Monster battles Zenyatta. No one watching in front of him, so Luminescence runs a crazy distraction Zenyatta, which is the last in my opinion, because they need the perfect setup. Like, oh, someone's behind us. We gotta kill the guy behind us, and then we'll go forward. They just need to hold Q and all hit Q to it works out for them.
You know that Zen has days, but he unfortunately isn't running away from that one. We had to see now the Diva Bomb moving in. You see the Deadeye now as the Prophetic Flux is waiting by Chunk. Didn't find anybody though. Instead, he's the one getting picked off by the Deadeye. Here, being utilized by Luminescence. The only one left as the only one next to him.
Oh, so Fulcrum just charges. We're going on the point. No with the high ground. 3 minutes ago. Instead,
nobody can just spring first round. Even though Monsoons, they took that first point so quickly. They sped entire time bank was
thing the Monsoons did. We have to hold the Everest on point B, but they're learning slowly, and this is a team, I think, Vicky, in future weeks that they learn exactly how they could beat the Everest, and they're making this more of a series on game 3 than it had been on the previous 2 matches. How fast the Everest can power through A, because there are improvements we're seeing from the Monsoons. But they feel like a really good contender to knock off the Everest in a few weeks once they small kinks they have.
You see that melting snowman? That's exactly how Monsoons right there when they try to push right there too. Because you have how Monsoons felt with the momentum that they built off of taking that first confidence. But unfortunately, the kept trying to go for the same thing over and over again for what benefited. Split up that attention that Everest was holding on that high ground. Had the cement to go.
The Everest can. Panda Squad, who's always the scary member, they're going to look, which means the Monsoons have to know where that Hanzo is at all times.
See Panda Squad now trying to take an angle here, trying to off of the. No, Panda Squad gets taken out. That's a great first pick, but look at the amount of trades that have come in compared to Everest, who have only lost Panda. Are their control so the Polo being on this dash, these dynamites dealing so way that Apollo is already ahead in terms of ult charge in comparison to Shadow Soul.
Not as much time. Very, very tough ass Monsoons, but they Everest didn't snowball. I mean, you look at the ult charges, they're not that far ahead. I mean, Chum only 50% lead on Holy. Everything's very Everest can snowball Monsoons to potentially win.
Ended up approaching differently. They're Everest go for the high ground and rushing to that second point. They are winning in terms of the trade. Riptire in a dream here.
Oh, the Riptire. You made a great point to keep their attention. The Monsoon just gave up the high ground at that first fight and
Victory.
the Everest just win.
Consistent taking these series. Sweep up 3-0 to put up an amazing fight against a team as
You never love selling a team, hey, not losing, but they're forced to be reckoned with in future weeks. Like a little bit, just a reminder that if you want to be like pro athlete game producers, then join the club. Esports Tower, get insider access to insights with our featured rumbles, recruit as well. It's a great way to looking to start your path to pro. Oh. Put a bow on this one, Vicky. A big congratulations to the player of the Panda Squad. Wasn't as dominant this time, so I think the nation's a bit more wide open than last week.
yeah. I also thought Panda Squad earlier, those players just really were able to because Panda so much work. Though that first map that we saw off from Panda from the May into the Widow, I feel like at that point they built up so much momentum and respect that it was displayed throughout the rest of the series. So my pick is gonna have to go to Panda Squad.
I think just like Atomic to I did for Fire Island. They went 1-1 today. They did beat Bernie Tech, but Low really. Okay, how do we support it? Low was also very impressive. I think player of the game in Soup, always in I think Meridian Tech. This is right there. It's going to be will end up being there's about 3 solid choices, but there it is. I'm right.
Oh.
On the Genji, I will say.
Yeah, and the adaptability from LoL in general. Mercy, the Mercy at that, splitting a lot of that attention into the res, it really shows you how
Lowell was fantastic. It's like everyone besides the Everest is not a whole lot to finish. I mean, every game was minus any game the Everest were in. So I think these Rumbles are to see who will play the Everest in the. Congratulations to Lowell. They are the player of the credit union. Team player, please, a great player makes a team more successful. Just like Idaho Central members achieve financial success. Lowell is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game, helping the Fire Islands, help the Monsoons make the. We've seen Lowell take on Everest, but maybe another week. But as we prepare to wrap this one up, phenomenal 2 weeks in our Overwatch Rumble. I mean, a big shout out to Stevens College for director to join us. Big thank you to you, Vicky, helping call all the action in our Week 3 Rumble.
Thank you so much for having me. I a lot of these players pop the adjustments made mid-series within a lot of these teams, and I cannot wait to see how a lot more of these teams actually make those adjustments going. Wrecking ball of players just moving.
Very exciting third week of the Esports Tower Overwatch Rumble. The Everest are three-peat soon. Solid performances by they might. Their head coach said, "Hey, we're bringing our next time we Rumble," and they said they're coming back. It's going to be a very tough task. Rumble to see who will be on top and if anyone can finally. On the we will close out with our top 5 presented by the Idaho Army National Guard. That's a critical thing. 10 jobs, $20,000 bonus, and your choice pick. The Idaho Army National Guard is one of the things out there. Big thank you to Stevens College for joining us, and of course, a huge thank you for Vicky Kitty for making the action phenomenal and make it sound as it looks. We'll leave you with our top 5, and we'll see you next week for a fresh Overwatch Rumble. It starts with a Lowell EMP, but instead it'll be the Gravitic Flux.
Gravitic Flux to start things off. Let's see what Lowell. The Dragons wipes out Mon. BBQ look at you with them, but that's fine. That's gonna allow Fire Islands to have fight. Keep your eyes out on.
Oh, they get a nano on the big Boofus. Has been so teaming up the whole hog if he wants. Letting their carries shine, as you said, with Soup and Big Boofus.
The Coalesce is still on board as Fire Islands. They're about another round of Coalesce, but now you barely have 4 ults, so you have to worry about just in with the nano boost as well from does find two. As Monsoon still is trying to control this point, you see Judge though on fire after making this swap, after having the defensive. Yeah, they don't want to bring everything just yet. They want to hold that on for that next control point. They know that Monsoon is also holding back a little bit. They know that they have that sound barrier right there, but the sound barrier only protecting BBQ. Not too sure if it was just out of their line of sight, but that is not what you want for your sound barrier.